Me dep on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. You email me a brief so silent, but the conversation seem no private. Me dep on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. As a young thing give me excitement, hard to keep this secret quiet. The royal boy is here, he be chilling on the pier. The weather so smooth, so nice, with a light young rum and ice. Say step on the island, no fear, no judgment on the island, it's clear. When Maxwell bring a surprise, we receive the package in a small size. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. You email me a brief so silent, but the conversation seem no private. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. Cause a young thing give me excitement, hard to keep this secret quiet. Me see a man in a wheelchair appear, him with a short gal vibing right near. A statesman just come off him flight, with a young thing on him left and right. There's a man a stand up at the gates, him want come in, he can't wait. Him look very smart and wise, foundation boy so nice. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. You email me a brief so silent, but the conversation seem no private. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. Cause a young thing give me excitement, hard to keep this secret quiet. Mr. Musa call late at night, him want come over, want and invite. Him have no vibes, we no rate till. And Maxwell tell a idiot say the party's done. We laugh cause smart get one STD. Him living too young, wild and free. From one Russian gal, intercourse. His wife no happy, she want divorce. Next day come around, it's safari time. We a enjoy, we self-relax and wine. Jeffrey a drive we round in a the Jeep. Him a chill guy, can't believe them call him a creep. Look how the monkey them a climb up and jump. Look on them go, them a climb and jump. Epstein Island a the place we be, if you want nature and animosity. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. You email me a brief so silent, but the conversation seem no private. Me up on Epstein Island, chilling on a Epstein Island. Cause a young thing give me excitement, hard to keep the secret quiet.
Gucci Marks generated this shit.
Gucci Marks generated this shit.
My big beautiful Belle, Belle, Belle. All the things that you can feel, feel, feel. You make me feel so alive, with that incredible size. My big beautiful Belle, 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 Belle. Do you still wanna Netflix and chill, 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 chill? We can watch Brokeback Mountain, that movie ended in a big ass fountain. My big beautiful Belle, Belle. Riding up and down that hill, hill, hill. And Hillary don't have to know about us. This some presidential, confidential ass love. My baby, beautiful Bill, Bill. This that love that can be kill, kill, kill. I wrote a special like in your name. Passing this eternal back party sun flame. And I know you're a Democrat, I'm Republican, don't give a fuck about that. We were loving like Romeo and Juliet. West Side Story, baby, let's fake all that. We're together in these Epstein files. Presidential romance is still alive. Over this party, we were dancing. They saying boys can't stop advancing. You didn't have sexual relations with that woman. I know I was with you in a White House booming. Secret Service knocking while we were coolin'. Trying to be quiet when that big bill moved in. Hit up, and then you just feel it, it ain't suiting. You better always lie me down or we be coolin'. Head game stronger than a giraffe, long neck ruling. When you with Dino, you know that thing be drooling. Bill, Bill. bill. You got a license for that drill, drill, drill. Missing you, my Billy Willy, boo. My Billy boy, whoop-dee, snoop-dee, woo. Billy, 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 Willy, woo. Whoop-dee, Billy, Snoop-dee, whoop-dee, Snoop-dee, woo. Billy boy, I think I love you. Whoop-dee, woo, Snoop-dee, Billy, boo.
Yes, 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 yes.
Marco! Let's go. I gotta get the bag.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Sorry that we're... By the way, do I say the word... I'll spell the word. S-O-R-R-Y. People have always accused me of saying this word weird. Sorry. Am I doing something wrong? Do y'all say sorry, like S-A-W, like I saw it, like I'm sorry? Sorry? Or do you say sorry? How to pronounce... Here we go, Tyler. Door charge, yep. Let's get it started. Let's get it started, Tyler. Back up the Brinks truck. Let's do it. Also, good news. We have new sound effects. Here's one that I said I was going to add, and I did.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise.
Such a funny sound effect. Oh, gosh. I love when he, like she just asked him to donate a kidney. Like she just asked him for one of his legs. And then we also have this. Anytime a big bag drops, don't be surprised if you see this.
I just died on your arms tonight. It must have been something you said.
So we've got that as well, which is great. And one reason that I'm a little bit late, well, this is really the only reason that I'm late, is because I was doing an important business meeting. I'm doing a little sneaky marketing work locally here in Edmonton, helping some businesses figure out social media. And, you know, that's what I've been doing for the last 7 years. So I've been helping some businesses and entrepreneurs figure out growing on social media and converting the eyeballs they get on social media into customers for their business. So I've been doing some of that. I went to a business networking event on Thursday. Thankfully, there was no MLM people there. It was all upstanding, you know, well-to-do, intelligent business folk. Met some new folks. That was fun. And today I was having a meeting with another business owner. And man, to whoever that girl is, that is the shift leader at the Earls in West Edmonton, god damn. I could tell from looking at her that she's involved in, like, she probably is a competitor. I think based on her tan, you know, when you go on stage as a fitness competitor, they wear like really dark tan to show off the striations or whatever. I think she, based on her tone, her pigment, that she had that on, and she must have just recently competed or is about to compete, because wow, what a physique that gal had. So Earls West Edmonton, congratulations. You're lucky that Joey's in West Edmonton in Mayfield Common had a line fucking out the door and a 35-minute wait time. So we went to Earls instead. And wow. This was me when I saw her.
I just died on your arms tonight. It must have been something you said.
Except it wasn't anything she said. It was how she looked. Also, Streamlabs link in the chat. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. I'll put the link. I already saw that aside from Tyler, you know, shout out Tyler, $5 super chat, or Streamlabs, sorry. We also have a donation from before I was even on camera, just when the intro was playing, from Wright. Thank you, Wright5111. He says, the future looks bright. Well, mine, not yours. Patrick Bedavid. Probably I'm to make the live stream once again. Don't know what that means, but thank you so much. You are a legend. You are an absolute legend, and we so rude to play that sound effect. Thank you for that, genuinely. So we have a video today, and somebody had posted this in my Discord. I can't remember off the top of my head, but join my Discord and remind me who did it. It was like the most recent message. Thank you to Sammy Peppertoes for dropping this video in my Discord. I have not seen it before. And this is the video. It's from Patrick Bet-David, your favorite. And let's bring this back. Why is this gone? Where's the dono goal? We don't have a dono goal, so we need to set one up. Dono goal. I mean, you already know every dono goal at this stage in my life is for the lawyers. But if I need to make it say something else to entice y'all, eat tiramisu. Here, I'll make that the dono goal. $50. Eat tiramisu. And we'll say we're already at $30 because of the donos that have been dropped. How about that? Takes no convincing at all. But realistically, it's all for the lawyers. Okay. Thumbs up the ting, blah, blah, blah. You already know the deal. Tyler's here. Wright's here. That's all that matters. Monsoon Lagoon is here. You say it Canadian. The word sorry. Okay. Sorry, Aboot. Two more for y'all. Did I set? Yeah, I do need to add that to the stream deck. Let me add that. Let me add that to my notes to put on the stream deck. Here go two more for y'all. Here go two more for y'all. So yeah, if y'all know who that waitress, that shift leader is at Earl's, I didn't talk to her, but let me know if you know who she is and if she's single and what the story is. Even though I'm never getting married. But anyways, thumbs up, thumbs up the thing. So we have this video. Patrick's video, the original from 5 years ago, is called "The Price of Raising the Minimum Wage for You in the Economy." 93K views in 5 years. Let's look at some of the comments here. The top comment, quote, "They trust the business owners to take care of them. Wrong. Unions." So he's already being fact-checked in his own comment section about the claim that Norway trusts employers to pay their workers a living wage. This comment says, no, they don't. Norway has a system. Everyone knows what everyone else earns. And in Norway, the employees stand up against being taken advantage of by unions, are a big part of the Norwegian system. So already he's being bodied in his own comment section. However, I want to look at this video, which is from a creator called Vosh, who I've never heard of, but obviously they're doing well, 600,000 subscribers. And it's called "This Anti-Minimum Wage Video Had Me Frothing with Rage." So I'm going to be doing a bit of meta commentary, reacting to this reaction to Patrick's video, because even though I'm sure Patrick would look at me as a libtard, I myself don't actually know much about this topic of minimum wage. And, you know, I generally don't like to comment on something if I don't know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. And so I'll be learning as well while watching this. And yeah, let's see what we can learn. Do you like me? Says Croteens. You bet. I'd like you if you paid your goon tax and hit the Streamlabs link in the chat.
The price of raising the minimum wage for you in the economy. I have a feeling this video is not going to be fun to dig into. We'll see.
Minimum wage, $15 an hour. Looks like they're forcing it through with the $1.9 trillion stimulus, and you can't vote for it. I can't vote for it. Just the benefit of a political party winning presidency, Senate, and House, and the other side.
We have a representative democracy, you fucking moron. How the fuck do you think this works? I'm sorry, do you think economic policy is determined by a referendum? What do you mean? They're forcing it through, we can't vote in it? Yeah, we did vote. It was called the 2020 presidential election. We voted. That's the consequence, okay? Yeah. Sorry, that's how our democracy works, yeah. What do you mean? You did cast your vote. I'm guessing you voted Trump. You lost. Okay.
It has to pay a price, but I just want to give you a couple stats here, and I'll make my case due to small business owners and individuals.
Hit me up.
Do you know what's the highest country that pays the most minimum wage in the world? Australia. You know what it is? $12.60. You know Australia is known to be a socialist country? Do you know the next one is France at $12.10, then Germany?
Wait, hold on. Australia is not a socialist country, first of all.
I knew that.
Don't people in Denmark? Yeah. Denmark McDonald's workers get paid like $20 an hour. Fast food workers make a minimum of $20 hourly in the US, while in the US their average hourly wage is $8.90. Jesus fuck. So, first of all, a national minimum wage is not the same as the provincial or city-by-city minimum wages that some states will have higher versions of. Second of all, most of the Nordic social democracies don't have very high minimum wages because they have very, very strong unions. their unions, even for like fast food workers, fight for relatively very high wages and also for benefits. Their workers have so much collective.
Do y'all know who this guy is? This creator Vosh? I've never seen any of his videos before. Somebody just posted this in my Discord. Is he what's his deal? He's a political streamer. Is he a libtard? Is he a MAGA? Is he a right wing? Is he a
bargaining power that they don't even need minimum wages. Yeah. So while it's true that that's not a minimum wage, I think that still effectively counts as like a ground floor wage, you know? He lied about Australia. Australia's national minimum wage is 15.43 USD an hour. Oh, let's see. Australia minimum wage. Oh, yep. Australia's minimum wage, wait, is this a joke? Is 1984 an hour? That has to be a joke. Wait, are we being real? Oh, shit. Damn, well. Yeah, that's in Australian dollars. So that would be about 15 US dollars. Yeah, 1984 Australian dollars an hour. Well, there you go, people. So that's about 15 US. Or we can, here, 20 AUD to USD. Yeah, 1556. Yeah, I don't know. Wait, why did he just lie about the minimum wage in Australia? Well, now I'm curious about the other one. Hold on. France minimum wage. Okay, France's minimum wage, he seems to have represented honestly. It looks like it's 10.03 euros per hour. What about Germany? Can't trust this guy for shit, you know?
You know, I used to be in a refugee camp in Germany, right? Me, my mom, my sister, because parents got divorced. It was a bit of an interesting background. My father is an imperialist, my mom is a socialist, and together they made me who is an idiot.
Yeah, Germany's is also lower. Okay. I don't know why he lied about Australia. Yeah.
11.80, then Netherlands $11, UK, Canada, South Korea, Japan, then it's US. You know what Russia's minimum wage is? $2.40. You know what China's minimum wage is? You do not want to know China's minimum wage. By the way, Norway doesn't have a minimum wage. There's a lot of countries that don't have a minimum wage. They just trust the fact that the business owner is going to take care of the employee.
No, they don't trust the business owner. They have unions that fight for workers' rights.
Even I knew this.
Dude, what a bootlicking cuck piece of shit. Oh yeah, and in the Nordic countries, you have them and they just trust their work. And of course, the business owners, in their absolute kindness and gratitude, just provide them $20 an hour. Come the fuck on, bro. Seriously.
I like his impression too. Benjamin says Vosh is good. Yeah, watch him a lot. He says some things I don't jive with, but gets most of it right. Okay.
Yes. We being real right now? He's a small business owner. I don't care. If you're a small business owner, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Patrick Bet-David is not a small business owner. Let's be very clear about that, ladies and gentlebergs.
This is bootlicker logic, okay? Or I guess he's trying to convince other people to lick the boot. I don't give a fuck. Fuck this guy.
And they trust the fact that the employee's going to work so hard to create high value in the marketplace that they pay more. They don't say,
nope, it's unions.
The government needs to come and do what they do.
By the way, this right here, this is the workers' rights equivalent of saying that in the 1960s, white people decided it was time for black people to have rights and generously gave it to them, okay? This is the workers' rights equivalent of just completely fucking ignoring the power struggle and just saying like, oh yeah, dude, the oppressors are just actually super nice, you know, whatever, you know? Oh yeah, dude, the abolitionists, the end of slavery, yeah, dude, the Confederates in the South, they just gave up their slaves because they just love black people so much, you know? That's what we're dealing with right now. That's the level of logic we're on.
So for a lot of these countries in the top 5 minimum wage are higher than us, and we're about to be number 1 at $15.
Not about to be number 1, not even close.
They're socialist, and now you beat all the countries around.
They're not so. Okay, this channel has 3 million subs. Are we really at the point? Is this guy really selling the Australia is socialist line? Have you ever been to Australia? It's just America, but stupider, somehow. With their fake language. Australian accent.
Around the world. In minimum wage, and they're socialists. What does that make America?
Super socialist.
I don't know.
Communist.
You put the two together. It is what it is. So
I would give anything to debate this guy. Holy fuck, this guy is so incredibly low IQ. How do you demonstrate how do you demonstrate in just 1 minute and 16 seconds that you shouldn't be legally allowed to be given a driver's license? Okay, that's incredible. I feel like this is something that you would have to substantiate with some kind of.
Padme.
Adams just dropped a bag $20 20 DALLORS tiramisu on me for some very high-level conversations at Casa de Angelo.
Ooh, does Casa D'Angelo have tiramisu? They better. Let me see. I'm gonna Google. Thank you, by the way. By the way.
I just died on your arms tonight. Must have been
some bag you dropped. It must have been the Streamlabs link. Streamlabs link in the chat. You must have gone and dropped a bag. I just paid my goon taxes. Goon tax. You know, ever since people started using the word goon to mean self-flagellation, it's really ruined it. Because I started calling my audience the goons, as in like a low-level henchman, like a grunt. That's what I meant by it. So now when I'm saying goon tax, it makes it sound like I'm paying tax for you to pleasure yourself, which is, yeah, I mean, which I guess works because it does pleasure you to pay taxes to the cult and pay my lawyer, doesn't it? My lawyer? Oh, God. My lawyer! I'm calling my lawyer! Me. Thank you. Who even was it that dropped that bag? I didn't even see. Now you're going to ruin my diet. I'm trying to get sexy for the ethno-religious mating event in 10 days in Florida, which I'm also going to go to Casa D'Angelo. Patams, thank you, Patams. It's a first-time bag drop from Patams. Big up to that. Big up.
$20 tiramisu on me for some very high-level conversations at Casa D'Angelo. You look at a guy like this, right? Always Marco, okay? He's going to Casa D'Angelo. I'm saying, Angelo, I'm actually curious. When you make the tiramisu, are you using cream cheese or not?
Thank you, Patams. Appreciate you. Let me read your chats. Let me see what's going on in the chat here.
So you look at the chat, okay? And it's saying this and that, XYZ. It's saying XYZ, and you think, okay, let's take that. And by the way, Vinny, I want to ask you, Adam, go ahead.
Casa D'Angelo vlog. How about that? When I go to Florida, I'll go to... I think I looked it up. So I'm going to be doing this podcast, True Crime with Matt Cox, in Tampa, Florida, in 10 days. Wow, that's amazing. I'm going to be doing this podcast with Matt Cox in Tampa, Florida, in 10 days. I looked it up. To go from Tampa, Florida to Fort Lauderdale, which is where Patrick is and where Casa D'Angelo is, it's like a 4-hour bus ride. So I guess this can be for the bus ticket and the snacks to get to and from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale. I also think Hagen, who may or may not be watching right now, is in Fort Lauderdale, and a couple other people hit me up and they're in Fort Lauderdale. So that's the new stream goal. Oh, Marco and Reborn at Casa D'Angelo would go hard. Dude, I was talking to Reborn last night, actually, and I hope he can come through, because that would be so much fun.
That would be, you talk about, you want to know how good of a time we would have? I'll tell you how good of a time we would have. We would have such a good time. Rob, pull up a picture having a good time, right?
Okay. Casa D'Angelo tiramisu. Let's see if they have it. Best tiramisu in Macedonia, Ohio, called Casa D'Angelo. Oh, this is a franchise? There's more than one of these? Casa D'Angelo is famous for its classic, authentic Italian tiramisu featuring layers of espresso-soaked cake, lady fingers, and velvety mascarpone cream generously dusted. Okay. Bumbaclot. Okay. All right, let's continue.
So you're looking at the video.
Like medical test or something, but this guy clearly, whatever autonomy the state is capable of stripping from him, that would probably be the best for his own sake.
What does the minimum wage really do? And then how does this apply to Motivation Monday? Let me get right into it. So number one.
Motivation Monday. Oh, this is one of those like on your grind motivation inspiration accounts, right? Those people are mega bootlickers. Holy fuck. You see them on Instagram and it's usually like poor people, and they post a picture of a guy in a suit like lacing up his shoes, and they're like, yeah, you know, it's not how many times you get hit, it's how many times you get up and keep on cover, some shit like that, and then they go back to working their double job at fucking Wendy's and Starbucks.
Adam and I are sitting here talking, and says, Pat, I said, I feel so bad for these small business owners. He says, Pat, why do you feel so bad for a small business owner? I don't feel bad for a small business owner. He said, they know what they were doing when they got into business. That's not like it's anyone's fault. They knew they were getting into business. So if they go out of business because of minimum wage, that's their fault. I said,
Noble Inquisition says, I don't know that Stream Deck You mean Streamlabs? It better be working. I'm about to look right now, my king. I don't see anything. Nothing's come through. Unless you're Patums secretly. But Noble Inquisition says, I don't know that Stream Deck is working. The Stream Deck is working. Y'all not hearing the sound effects? Oh shit, my bad. You're not. What the heck? Dude, what the heck? Am I good? Dude, literally the entire OBS app just crashed. Thank you, Andrew, Noble Inquisition, for telling me that. You're right. The Stream Deck sound effects weren't working, and then when I went to go add them, OBS crashed. Holy shit. That's embarrassing that I was like aura farming. There we go. I was farming sound effects, and they weren't even coming through. That's embarrassing.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise.
There we go. Now can we hear it? That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing. But he says, the in-person Matt Cox and Marco podcast will complete my life. You wait. Don't even worry a hair on your sweet little head, my king. We will get there. And it's already scheduled. 10 days from now. 10 more sleeps. Count down like it's Quizmois. I'll be home for Quizmois. We'll get there. Sorry about that, and I hope the connection didn't cut out, because I actually did have to relaunch OBS completely there for a second. For un segundo. Right. Is it this? Is it? I'm trying to get this video back. Here we go. All right, and I promised, as promised, I will grab the tiramisu. I actually have a piece of tiramisu from a Lebanese bakery that I got. Shout out to Cedar Sweets. So I bought one. I wasn't planning on eating it today. I was planning on being a good boy and not eating it till tomorrow, but here we are.
Patrick Bet Douchebag donated 14 Canadian dollars and 75 cents. Dropping Australian minimum wage for the Australian slander from PBD and Vosh. I don't know if it'll have an impact on your Aussie audience, but we'll let the market decide. Australia globe kangaroo koala upward trend downward trend person shrugging medium light skin tone.
Holy shit. Patrick Bet Douchebag donating 14.75 Canadian. Thank you so much. Dropping Australian minimum wage for the Australian slander from PBD and Vosh. I don't know if it'll have an impact on your Aussie audience, but we'll let the market decide. Yes, thank you so much, Patrick Bet Douchebag. That's hilarious. And here it is. Here's the Bumbaclot tiramisu. The Bumbamasu, am I right? Wait for it. Oh. Ooh. Let's take its panties off here real quick. Ooh, I'm going to fuck it up if I do that. Here we go. Well, I'm going to drop it everywhere. So, Rob, pull up. Rob, did you get the picture I sent you of the tiramisu? Let's take that. Rob, put this picture of tiramisu into ChatGPT and tell me the macros. I'm going to actually do that right now. Photos, tiramisu. Give me the estimated macros on this piece of tiramisu. Fuck, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good for my cut, is it? I shouldn't be eating any tiramisu. Bumba, 550 to 750 calories, 8 to 12 grams protein, 45 to 65 grams carbs, 35 to 50 grams fat. That's what kills me. I'm trying to be super low on the fat, and now look at me. Now look at me. I'm like another streamer who talks about losing weight all the time, but then doesn't actually do it and ends up eating pizza and donaires. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Well, I didn't say I have to eat all of it. Nobody said I have to eat all of it. Do I know what a lol cow is? JC Wiggins in the chat says Vosh is a lol cow. I just Googled it, and it's basically like, if I understand correctly, it's like someone who people laugh at. Like, they're laughing at you, not with you type of thing. They're like a jester maxing. Marco, J-Tran says, Marco, did you see the hilarious clip of the whole PBD crew trashing Adam for his abysmal debate performance? Which one? The original Dave Smith debate or the new rematch they did? Which one was it? But no, I didn't see it. Brother's bulking up, honestly. I hope not. Franz, Liam, Robert, I hope none of my... John, I hope none of my bodybuilder friends are watching this. Felix, don't watch this. What the fuck is happening? Figure it out.
Let me make my case on what they were doing when they got into business. That's not like it's anyone's fault. They knew they were going into business. So if they go out of business because of minimum wage, that's their fault. I said,
Yes, I did see the one from a month ago, Jay Tran, where it was the first debate between Adam Smith, and Dave Smith. Dave Smith bodied Adam. Adam was like, I'm worried about trying to have people who rely on me. And Dave Smith was like, who relies on you, Adam? Your mom?
Great point. Let me make my case on why I disagree with you. He says, what is it? I said, see if you and I were to get into a fight, and it's a big fight. It's a fight we're going to do it on YouTube. Adam Sosnick against Patrick Bet-David. Okay?
Oh,
Here's the rules and guidelines. It's boxing only. And let's just say, Adam, you're a better boxer than me. You're an 8, I'm a 6.5. Okay? So you know, as long as you take care of your body, your health, your diet, your stamina, you can last the whole, 10 rounds, 12 rounds, you're going to beat me because you're a better boxer, better defender. Great. I said, but I'm a ridiculous kickboxer. My kick is an 8. You don't even kick. You have no clue how to kick. You're a 2.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I said, imagine 5 minutes before the fight starts, they say, new rule being added to the fight. We can officially have kicks in the fight. I said, who wins that fight? You do. Is that fair to you? No, it's not. That's not fair to me. I said, exactly. That's what happened to small business owners. Small business.
What? How incompetent, how poor at making analogies. Did he script that? So his argument is that if paying your workers minimum wage.
That's what happens to small business over hilarious.
That was one type of game. That's what they got into as a business owner. But now they got into this new game, and there's a higher minimum wage, and that's a totally different type of game. No, it's not. The government has had the ability legally to raise the minimum wage and has done so for decades and decades and decades. Anybody who opens a business has to recognize the fact that there is a possibility that the minimum wage will be changed, and they will have to accommodate the cost of accommodating, those wages.
Apparently, Casa D'Angelo tiramisu is $18. Well, I guess that's all I'm going to be eating.
Simple as that. They didn't sneak this around. We've been talking about a $15 minimum wage for like 5 years now. And even then, the process of implementing it is going to take another 5 years now that it's being passed. This isn't like sneaking up on people. This is a cost of business, okay? You could say the same thing about like paying taxes. Like you have businesses committing tax fraud and you catch them and they're like, well, I thought the taxes would only be like at X, but then we started making more money and like that's a whole different other game, bro, we had to pay more taxes, and like that's like when you kick in a boxing match. That was a whole different type of game, bro.
Business owners have to worry about improving their company, improving their product, taking care of their employees, taking care of their customers, making sure they have money, making sure they're working hard, making sure they're improving. But they can't do nothing about government laws.
Except if the government has decided that the current minimum wage is not a living wage, then them increasing the minimum wage is them taking care of their employees. Notice the false dichotomy that he just put up there. Like the government is like this unknowable entity for which businesses should have no account. Businesses only exist because of the government, motherfucker. If it weren't for the police protecting property rights, you people wouldn't have shit, okay? Your businesses would have already been overrun by the poor and desperate, and they would be eating all of the fucking McDonald's fries directly out of the freezer as we speak, okay? Your existence depends on the state, okay? And then earlier you say, they have to take care of their employees. This is taking care of their employees. Our minimum wage is pathetically low.
These government laws are a form of bullying that put small business owners out of business. So how do they put small business owners out of business?
Bullying! How much of a victim complex do you need, you fucking brainlet? Bullying? Passing legislation.
Patrick will always feel bad for the business owners no matter what. No matter what. It reminds me of this clip that resurfaced the other day.
Well, look, the salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. I mean, it's just people just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, a residence at home, and do all the things that are required. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy. Look, at least let them like engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to take care of their family.
Oh, so you admit their 200 grand a year or whatever it is salary isn't enough? Oh, the salary of a congressperson has been locked for decades. How long has the minimum wage been locked, pray tell? What is the equivalent buying power of a congressperson with their salary in 1985 compared to the minimum wage in 2025? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but my gut tells me that the 1985 congressperson is still doing better than the $15 an hour person today. Forgets to mention the 3.5 to 5 million they receive every year for expenses. Uh-oh. Average member of Congress is worth $8 million. The total combined net worth of Congress is more than $4.3 billion. Uh-oh. The compensation for most senators, representative delegates, and the resident commissioner is 174 grand. Oh, so you make over 100K a year, and you want us to have sympathy about you guys trading stocks so that you can take care of your family. So you admit that not making 200 grand or more puts you in a compromising position to take care of your family. Oh. Oh, I see. They all make almost 200K, far more than most Americans. They cheat and use inside info, allegedly, in their opinion. What about what inflation has done to Americans' wages? He said, we might have less qualified people to run government. Very few of them are qualified now. I would rather you have people who are not part of this club running the government. Hilarious. Unless you work for a brokerage, stock trading is not taking care of your family. In fact, it would be a horrible way to do so because it's essentially gambling. Very true. 95% of people who trade stocks lose money. Same thing with options, whatever else, Forex. What Speaker Johnson is really saying is that Congress views itself as a class that deserves protection from the economic conditions ordinary Americans are expected to live under. Patrick Bet-David getting moist reading this. When inflation destroys your purchasing power, you're told to budget better, work harder, cut back, or accept it. When inflation affects Congress, suddenly there's sympathy, concern about quality of life, and arguments for why they need access to stock trading and other advantages to, quote, take care of their families. Bombaclat AI image of people living luxurious, playing with their iPad at 90 years old versus the proletariat struggling. Bomba Rasklat. If I didn't laugh, I would cry. They're bullying Congress by not letting them trade stocks. They're bullying business owners by making them pay minimum wage. Yes. Yes. You're flaming him. Fact check it. Live fact checking. Bumba clock KFC chicken. Oh, why is it not showing? What's happening? Why does it keep doing this?
Minimum wage, $15 an hour, could deliver raises for 27 million workers and lift about 1 million Americans above the poverty threshold. But the policy would cost 1.4 million Americans their jobs over the next 4 years, according to a study released by Nonpartisan Budget Congressional Committee Monday. Why? I have to read the full. God damn it. While the CBO study finds poverty reducing effects, the broader findings can make it difficult for proponents to increase rally enough.
They could have clipped this and
Democrats,
edited this stream down better. Like, obviously this is truncated from a live stream. They could have edited this down to probably 20 minutes with taking out the dead air.
What analysis? Do they not provide their math here? Wait, somebody says takedown of CBO study. I don't know if I can trust a Twitter thread, but I'll take a look at it. If for no other reason than because they probably have access to the actual data here. Today, USCBO released its projections for a $15 an hour by 2025 minimum wage. Here are some thoughts on their employment estimate. TLDR, they use the same evidence, 11 studies, as the 2019 report, but UP weighted more negative studies. The implied OWE equals negative 0.48 instead of negative 0.38. That's a pretty significant difference. In the 2019 study, they used 11 studies and found the median directly affected employment elasticities by around negative 0.25. Then they multiplied by 1.5 to capture long-run effects. Oh, really? This time they used the same elasticities, but now decided to not use the median elasticity, but simulate the mean employment effect by randomly drawing from these elasticities.
Boring.
They used in the 2019 study, they changed for the 2020 study to facilitate a more hyperbolic prescription. One thing that's not being discussed here is the fact that a higher minimum wage would also lead to an increase in jobs. Here's something you guys need to think about. Ford figured this out a century, okay? Okay? Think about this, okay?
Shout out Ford. The person, not the car.
If more people are making more money, they have more money to spend at businesses. I know. Now, it is absolutely the case that a significant increase to the minimum wage, which is what we're looking at here, going from, what is it, $8.75 to $15? Yeah, that's definitely a big increase. There is no denying that this will lead to some job losses. What this study doesn't seem to account for is the job gains that would come about from increased economic activity from the people whose wages have been raised.
Type shit.
Lifting nearly 1 million people above the poverty line, that's nearly 1 million more people who can start to afford amenities. Oh,
What up, Brandon C? Talk to him.
sorry, 725, not 875. I just can't believe how low it is. In small communities, in like more rural or suburban communities where there aren't that many businesses, think about it. They may have to pay out more money, but that means the people in the area now have more money to go ahead and buy back from that direct store. That's what Ford realized back when he was developing his assembly line model. If he paid his workers more, that would mean they would have the money to buy his cars, which meant more money for him. It meant more money for them. It meant a higher standard of living for them, and it meant more money for him. The more money that's circulating through the economy, the better the economy is.
Shout out Henry Ford. Shout out his newspaper, the Dearborn Independent. Shout out to his articles. Shout out to his cars. Shout out to him.
The poorer people are, the less they're able to spend in the economy, which means that money isn't going to those businesses. This seems like an overall net positive. Also, for all of these lost jobs, how many of these jobs are real jobs and how many of these jobs are gig work jobs? How many of these jobs are transient, like
black jobs, work? Where's the work?
You're signed up for 24 hours a week, but you only get scheduled for 12 hours a week type jobs? How many of these are like real fucking 40-hour-a-week proper jobs? I'd be willing to bet very few of them. Most of these are cuck jobs, and the loss of these jobs could actually be a good thing because it would mean the people who are otherwise taking them can now afford to live off of only one job instead of having to take 2 or 3.
There's a book actually called Bullshit Jobs, which I recommend.
Does that make sense? The fact that this study doesn't even discuss that means that I can't take it seriously, regardless of whether allegations there may be of it misrepresenting data. That's just
Wait, am I not live right now?
misrepresent.
Okay, my bad.
Simple math right there. And we've known this, by the way, for ages. Then why don't rich people want to raise the minimum wage? Well, some rich people have, but rich people as a class tend not to because there are other effects which are a product of ensuring wealth inequality. This is just my personal feeling, but I feel like when you're very wealthy and very powerful, you care less about the economy being
Hadjan just tithed 137 Canadian dollars .54 to the cult. VIP Casa D Angelo package. Invite
Bamba.
Marco, Tom, Vinny, the Shah, Morgan Freeman, Tom Brady, Donald Trump, and of course the EEELLAAWWWNNN.
So we're going to Casa D'Angelo. Me, Hagen, Tom, Vinny, the Shah of Iran, Milton Friedman, Morgan Freeman as well, the actor, Tom Brady, Donald Trump, and of course Elon. We're all going there. So I turn to Donald. Donald is saying XYZ. Patrick, you're such a great guy, frankly, such a great guy. You look at what they're doing. It's tremendous, frankly. The southern border, the beautiful southern border, it's such a disgrace, but that's okay, right? Fake news, nasty people, the nastiest. Such nasty people. They tell lies. They're telling lies about me. Melania. But that's okay, right? You look at Barron, big, strong Barron. He's so big, frankly. You see, Barron, you look at a guy, you go, wow, this is a big guy. And I know a lot about big guys. People ask me all the time, they say, Donald, sir, who's the biggest guy? I say, that's easy. It's Barron, right? So we're going there. You look at somebody like Hagen, okay? He's dropping $137.54 billion on Streamlabs. So you look at a platform like Streamlabs. Who's the owner of it? Then I'm thinking, are they a socialist? Yes or maybe not. Rob, pull up who's the owner of Streamlabs and send them a copy of my book, Your Next 5 Moves. Hey again.
I just died on your arms tonight. Must have been something you said.
Get ready to be sick. Absolutely sick to your stomach of the Lego Batman GIF pop up.
I'm just making up donut goals at this point. I'm just making it up.
My lawyer, did you just my lawyer and my accountant calling me tonight? Did you do a donation goal for tiramisu? I'm like, no, it's for you. Actually, it's for you guys to do my taxes and do the bookkeeping and handle my lawsuits. But I just had to say that for the people. Well, you know they're going to use that against us, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Explain it. I don't know. That's what I hired you for. Explain it. Explain it away. Bullshit Jobs is a wealth of knowledge, says Benjamin. The audiobook used to be on YouTube for free and I listened twice. Now it's gone. Wonder why. Yeah, I have it on Audible. But I canceled my Audible, so I don't support Amazon anymore. Hagen, David says, big strong Baron. They say, sir. And you look at what they're doing. Patrick and Trump both have this same, like, so you look at something like what they're doing on the southern border, right? Trump will say the same thing. It means nothing. You look at what they're doing, frankly, it's such a disgrace on the beautiful border, the southern border. I said we're going to build the wall. We built it. We built such a big wall, such a beautiful wall, right? But now they're saying, Hagen, or both. Yeah, that's enough. Or is it doing this, or are we doing this, or both? R.I.P. David Graeber. He died? Bumbaclot. R.I.P. September 2020. Bumbaclot. I didn't know David Graeber died.
Rob, pull up David Graeber. Send a copy of my book to his family.
Thank you, Hagen. I'll see you at Casa D'Angelo. See how isn't it interesting how so many people want to meet Always Marco? So many people, I go out in public, the rare time I go out in public, everybody, Always Marco, Always Marco, Always Marco. Taking pictures. I see a picture on Reddit 4 hours after I get home of somebody from magnifying on their phone from 1,000 feet away, being like, look, I just saw Always Marco eating shrimp. Or whatever. I have never been out eating shrimp, but you get my point. You get my point. I just saw Marco at the Lego store looking at the Batman Forever Batmobile, which is true. Here's a picture of it. And now you see somebody like Hagen who he just consistently comes in and drops that bag and pays his goon tax ahead of time. He's paid up. He's paid up for at least a year. But don't tell him that, of course. And now, what do you know? Now we're going to meet in Fort Lauderdale. Funny how that works, isn't it? Funny how that works. They call it lobbying. We love lobbying.
Good and more about being socially distinct from the people beneath you. You feel your wealth is an entitlement and things like a higher minimum wage or the government wresting money from you. Even if you end up making more money from it in the long run, it doesn't change the fact that it blurs a otherwise clear distinction of class power. Does that make sense?
Bars, type shit.
Vosh is right. You guys just look anti-Semitic when you Pepe. Yep.
What?
Unironically, you guys.
Oh, is it because he talked about Ford?
1.4 million people in America lose their jobs. And what does that mean if 1.4 million people lose their jobs? Here's what it means.
Oh, I like what...
You want to know what it means when 1.4 million people lose their jobs? So you want to know what it's like when 1.4 million people is about to lose their job. I'm going to tell you what it means when they lose their job. Rob, pull up a picture of a job. Rob, what's my job? Rob, job, pull up Rob.
When he says 1.4 million people lose their jobs, he shows like a guy in a suit looking depressed. Oh yeah, these are the people who will be affected by the increase to minimum wage, dude. Oh yeah, all of these, all the doctors and lawyers are gonna be out there in the street. You know, they were just making $7.25.
What does that mean if 1.4 million people lose their jobs? Here's what it means. Walmart, say I have a market.
Oh my God. It's truly an art form. It's actually an art form.
You want to know what it means when 1.4 million people are about to lose their jobs? I'll tell you what it means. You look at something like Walmart, right? You look at what the market is doing. All of a sudden, I'm back in Iran, 1973. My mom and dad get divorced. We go to a refugee camp in Germany. Fast forward a little bit, I'm in the streets listening to Tupac. A little bit further on from that, I'm working at Bally's. I'm thinking military, no military. I go to the military. I come out, I'm working World Financial Group Transamerica. Afterwards, we're starting PHP 2009. 50,000, 200,000, $20 billion later, 50 billion agents later. I'm looking at, okay, valuetainment. Let's do this, let's do that. Adam, Tom, Vinny, everybody's joining, right? So you think about 1.4 million people losing their jobs. Let's say on average, every person is making $20,000 a year, okay? You do the calculation. What is 1.4 million times $20,000? Divide that by what is the average of how many people is actually buying my book. This is going to show you how many people is actually understanding what we're trying to say, okay? So I'm looking at Dilly. Dilly is telling me this, telling me that. Soccer game on Tuesday, right? Tuesday I have a meeting. Very high level guy. I'm not going to say who he is. You would know who he is. But we're there looking at 20,000 million people losing their jobs, right?
And I'm thinking, okay, these people is gonna lose their jobs, but can't they go to Walmart and get a new job for that's going to pay them a little bit more, right? So when you understand the market, this is the type of understanding you come into, right?
Market. Across the street is Walmart. Walmart, say I have a market. Patrick's Market. Across the street is Walmart.
No problem.
The only product I beat Walmart in is milk. I sell milk for $3.49.
We're
Walmart.
getting another fucking analogy.
I love seeing other people react to Patrick's babble. This was posted in 2021, by the way. This dude was even earlier than me to the Patrick train.
Sells it for $3.59. That's my way of getting 600 customers and families that come to me because we go to PBD's or Patrick's Market because his milk is 10 cents cheaper than who? Walmart.
That's not happening. Nobody is making another trip to another grocery store. If they're already at Walmart to buy everything else, nobody is going to save 10 cents by, going to the other store across the street. It's not worth the 10 cents.
Then all of a sudden, they announce minimum wage is $15. Who do you think can afford to pay $15 an hour minimum wage and who can't? Walmart can. I cannot. If I now have to pay $15 and I have to raise my price of my milk from $3.49 to $4.29, he can stay $3.59. How long until I go out of business? How long until my 600 customers who love me and say, Pat, I got to tell you, I love you. I love your jokes. You're funny. You're so good to us. And I find him go to Walmart and I sit in front of Walmart and I see all my customers going there.
So he brings up a good point here. Doesn't a minimum wage disproportionately affect small businesses? Well, kind of, sort of. If you live in communities where people don't have a tremendous number of industries or companies they can buy from, there is a monopsony effect that actually leads to positive outcomes with regards to increases in minimum wage.
This is correct. You can read the book, The Rational Optimist, to understand specifically through the example of Walmart how this happens.
Because people have more money to spend at those locations. But then you have to consider, wouldn't Walmart be able to price out small businesses?
Correct.
That's been happening for decades anyway, sweetie. That's not a new thing. That's not a new process. If you have a problem with megacorps pricing out small businesses, your issue isn't with the minimum wage. Your issue is with broader policies that allow them to get away with stuff like that.
Type shit.
That's how capitalism works, my dude. Don't blame minimum wage increases. That's been happening anyway with a pathetically small minimum wage.
I like how Patrick, everything about him signals that he would be in favor of this type of wiping out the small business because capitalism wins, baby, and it's competitive and whatever, rise and grind. But then out the other side of his mouth, he's like,
but small businesses, okay?
You when the fuck has Patrick Bet David, which the last name means House of David, by the way, if you know anything about theology, who was David? Anyways, what has Patrick Bet David ever done, or what does he know about small business? You worked at Bally's, which is a big chain. You worked at Morgan Stanley, allegedly, which is a Wall Street institution. You worked at World Financial Group, which is a... Moving along. Then you started your own MLM, PHP. What the fuck are you talking about? What the actual heck are you talking about?
Seriously. Yeah. Don't punish workers. Don't force workers to be paid less. Just because you're sad your small business can't keep up. If you're sad your small business can't keep up, then you should vote Democrat because they're far more likely, albeit not by much, marginally more likely, to pass laws which are favorable to small businesses. But
Anything I feel, how can I win them over? I can't win them over. I can't sell it for $3.49. I have to close business. You know who celebrates? Walmart. Walmart says, bam. Thank you so much for raising minimum wage.
Damn, that sounds like a problem with big businesses. Bernie has proposed tax credits for small businesses to help them pay their workers more. Yeah, I'd totally be in favor of that, 100%. Tax credits on smaller businesses or something else like that, or maybe like a government subsidy for like benefits provided. I think that'd be a good idea, yeah. Because I do have an issue with what megacorps do, especially to like suburban communities where everyone goes and drives to Walmart or Target instead of going to all the cool little individual shops that have been there for decades. But that doesn't have anything to do with minimum wage. That process of wealth accumulation has been taking place for a long time anyway.
We don't even have to put these guys out of business. You're doing it for us. You're so wonderful. All the politicians in DC. We love you, right? That's basic math. I can go an hour telling you different.
Bet you that this guy has never talked about or given a shit about money going to megacorps before, and he's only bringing this up now in the specific relationship to increasing minimum wage.
You know, analogies, numbers, data for you to see, okay, that makes sense. Now, let's talk about the other side. You know, when was the last time I got paid minimum wage? I was 14 or 15 or 16 years old working for Haagen-Dazs, making ridiculous banana splits. Okay?
Damn, that explains your complete lack of perspective then.
New Patrick lore unlocked. Ladies and gentlemen, new Patrick lore has been unlocked. We just found out that he also worked at Haagen-Dazs. I did not know. Elon Musk. Get ready, Musk. I still think that's fucking hilarious. My family wants a meeting with you. Let me play it one time. Please. Please let me play it one time. Elon Musk. Elon Musk. My family wants a meeting with you. Who is it? Who is it? You know? Ooh, they're hiding it. They're trying to Elon Musk. Ooh, why are they hiding it? They don't want you to know the knowledge of that video. Elon Musk. My family wants a meeting with you. Get ready, Musk. Where is it? Joe Biden. Biden, wake up. Here it is. Oh, no. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
I promise you a surprise. Get ready, Musk. Here it is.
Oh, not with the music. I promised you a surprise. Let's see it. Let's watch it.
Elon Musk. My family wants a meeting with you. I promise you a surprise. Get ready, Musk. Here it is. Get ready, Musk.
All right. Good enough. How did I? Oh yeah, he also worked at Burger King. No way. So what's the best burger, right? You want a Whopper or not? So you look at something that's flame broiled, right? I'm thinking, okay, we broil it on the flame. How much does a flame cost? Patrick working at Haagen-Dazs is crazy. Monsoon says, if I need to withhold pay from my salesmen who are underperforming and under recruiting, then I do it. Type shit.
Why would you say that in a video where you're talking about a minimum wage increase? Like, I don't even care. I don't even care, bro. I haven't been paid minimum wage since I was a kid. You're still paid minimum wage. Like, okay. Cool.
Or sorbet in a sugar cone, or waffle cone, or a little cup, or...
Oh my God, going through the... This is such a Patrick Bet David. I used to work at Haagen-Dazs. I was making minimum wage. I worked at Haagen-Dazs making a banana split. Or maybe it was a cone, or maybe it was a sundae, or maybe it was a parfait, or maybe it was an ice cream cake, or maybe it was an ice cream cone, or maybe it was a waffle cone, or maybe it was a soft serve. And then go through and name every item on the menu. That's such a Patrickism.
Damn, that explains your complete lack of perspective then. Why would you say that in a video where you're talking about a minimum wage increase? Like, I don't even care. I don't even care, bro. I haven't been paid minimum wage since I was a kid. You're still paid minimum wage. Like,
we don't know.
Cool.
How come only half of you have clicked like on the stream, by the way?
Or sorbet in a sugar cone, or waffle cone, or a little cup, or, you know, sundaes.
What are you saying right now?
What was the value of my PBD in a marketplace in 1990?
Oh, Nikki D Love is in Fort Lauderdale driving by Valuetainment as I'm streaming. That's hilarious.
94. You know,
I gotta stop by Valuetainment and film a video outside of it when I come to Fort Lauderdale. Hagen and Nikki D Love will be my security. And then we go to Casa de Angela.
Probably around 1993. You know, I was probably worth $3.25 an hour or $3.75 an hour. It's probably what I was worth. Okay. Then,
when I was a 14-year-old guy making banana splits, I didn't need that much money, and I see no problem at all making a comparison between my economic needs as a child and the economic needs of families who are trying to live off minimum wage jobs.
Especially decades later, when the inflation and the economy is in such a different state than it was back when you were 14 years old. This is such a boomerism, which Patrick's not even old enough to qualify as, but it's such a boomerism to be like, back in my day, I walked uphill to school both ways, and we were so poor. You were so poor, but it also took you a week's worth of wages to not be poor anymore. You could, you know, oh, you were homeless, Grandma? And then what happened? Well, then my husband got a job, and a few months later, we bought our house for $50,000, and now it's worth $5 million. Ah, okay, so shut the fuck up.
after working at Häagen-Dazs, I get a job at Bob's Big Boy.
Here we go.
So now I'm working at Bob's Big Boy, right? He's a big boy. You look at him, you think, okay, this guy is big. So I'm looking at it as you've got cheeseburger, veggie burger, chicken fingers. It's a diner, right? So you've got a pickle, tomato, onion, lettuce, ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, some other, sauce. Maybe they put in some grilled onions on it. You don't know. So because of that, now maybe I'm worth $4.11, somewhere in there. $4.11, $4.12, $4.13, $4.14, $4.15, $5, $3.95, realistically.
$5.15 an hour. I was like,
did it go Burger King, Häagen-Dazs, Bally's, or the opposite? Well, Dave Vaughn, now Bob's Big Boy is part of it.
Man, I'm making it. Looking at Häagen-Dazs, I get a job at Bob's Big Boy. $5.15 an hour. I was like, man, I'm making it. Then I went to Burger King.
Häagen-Dazs, Bob's Big Boy, Burger King, Bally's, Morgan Stanley, Dean Witter, World Financial Group, Transamerica, PHP.
40 hours a week, because Bob's Big Boy wouldn't give me 40 hours a week. They only give me 20 hours a week. And then I never even thought about minimum wage. All I thought about is how to increase my market value.
Yeah.
How to increase my market value. I'm a 15-year-old Patrick. How do I increase my market value? You look at something like a Bob's Big Boy, Burger King. I wonder how we're going to do. You were also a child. Did you have rent? Did you have a car payment? Obviously the answer is no. But even if you did have rent, I wouldn't be surprised if you could afford it back in, how old is Patrick? He's 47, right? So how old would he have been? What year was it when he was 15? That was 32 years ago. 1994? This guy's so disconnected. This guy's so out of touch.
There we go. This is cuck language right here. Hey, anti-cuckoldry action. Get ready for it, okay? Listen to it. If you live in America and you are poor and you fantasize every day about increasing your market value so that you can out-earn your competitors and demonstrate to your bosses that you have value you're willing to provide, you are a cuck. You're letting them fuck your wife, okay? You're watching them fuck your wife and you're thinking, how can I best facilitate this interaction to demonstrate my cuck value?
Oh, why is the Stream Deck not working? Again, what the fuck, dude?
She belongs to the streets.
There we go.
We gave him the money. Boom.
How long was the Stream Deck not working for? I've been hitting y'all with hilarious sound effects this whole time. The fuck? All right, there we go. Let's see.
That's what you're doing right now, okay? This guy's trying to get you to be a cuck. This is the cuck equivalent of a sissy hypno video.
Elon Musk.
Can you bless me with something?
Oh, gosh.
Money-wise.
Okay? Ooh. You love sucking dick. Cum is tasty. That's
Because I want you to come.
what you're watching right now, okay? That's what's happening right now. You're watching.
So premium ice cream to local diner. Benjamin says pay increments should be 50 cents at least. I'm tired of hearing about people getting a 10-cent raise. I mean, it's going to take how many years to lobby for the 50-cent raise, and then they're going to overnight raise the prices. He went versus they couldn't stand him. Exactly. He went. Yes, true. He left the job willingly. It's like when people get fired and they say, God closed that door for me. Listen, don't bring God into this. You got fired.
The cuck equivalent of that, okay? That's what's happening. You need to fucking chill. Listen. You know what the number one thing people do to increase their market value is? They go to school. People who go to school and graduate with at least a bachelor's degree have a very statistically significant higher average income than people who just graduate from high school. That's a way that you can increase your market value. If there's a talent you have, if there's a skill you have that you want to develop, or if you want to find a way to become more productive because it will benefit your life, that is something you should do. We live in a tough world. We live in a tough economy. We live in a gig economy right now where people don't have anywhere near the amount of job security that they used to. And in that environment, you need to work to provide. And that's, if you want to do what you can to improve that system, then go for it.
You're a victim.
But do not fall for grifty, dumb fuck pieces of shit like this who will tell you that you don't need to care about government policy because you should have your nose to the grindstone.
Because I want you to come.
So true. So absolutely true.
You have a hard time finding the place?
Oh, that was my Chris Hansen one. Which one was I looking for?
6 bomber ass clot, pussy bomber blood clot egg.
That's how I feel.
Okay? For centuries, unions and federal minimum wage and the hours we set for a work week and OSHA and a bunch of other shit regarding the expectations that
when people say I'm between blessings right now, just say you lost your job. God closed that door. I'm between blessings. Just say you're selling. Just say you're on TikTok selling the pineapples from Costco with the Kool-Aid powder inside of it.
the government has of employers, those have meaningfully determined the quality of your life. And this guy wants you to stop talking. He wants you to shut up. Stop listening. He wants you to stop paying attention to the means by which you could make your life better and focus on doing what you can to make your boss's life better. Don't listen. This guy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Is this guy worth hundreds of millions?
You know how I would increase my market value? I would join World Financial Group, recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people, okay? Once I realized that it's not possible and it's unsustainable by virtue of the design of it, and it's based on an inherent deception, okay, allegedly, in my opinion, what I would do then is I'm going and starting my own version, which is basically the same thing structurally, right, compensation-wise, and it's called PHP, right, and I'm recruiting other people who is recruiting 5 people, that's recruiting 5 people, funneling the money back up to me in a triangular shape of a kind, allegedly, okay? Then I'm taking the money, I'm buying a studio, I'm starting a personal brand, and I'm buying the time of people like Kobe, Jordan Peterson, Shaq, etc., to validate through social proof my personal brand and establish myself as a legitimate media personality to insulate myself from the perception of running a multi-level marketing company, which everybody knows is bad. Allegedly, in my opinion, right? Then once I reach escape velocity and I've got so many people who only know me from that thing and not the other thing, now I'm okay, right? And if somebody like a YouTuber, for example, is going to release a video interviewing somebody who worked for my company and had an experience like XYZ, I'm going to have my lawyer send them a request to delete the video, okay? Cease and desist, right? Allegedly. So that's what we're doing. Rob, pull up a cease and desist letter.
And he's just rambling in like the, what is this? Like the kitchen area of an office? What is this guy's name?
Patrick Bet Douchebag.
Patrick Bet David.
The disappointment with which he discovers it. Let's see if he stumbles upon the MLM background.
150 million.
$150 million.
Jesus. Yeah, well.
American entrepreneur and financial advisor. Well, that's one way.
Probably not the type of guy that you, as somebody who's struggling right now to make it in society, should be taking advice from.
Look, there's a place for unemployment benefits.
Oh yeah, small business owner, by the way. Dude, I love how all of his analogies have been like, I'm just a poor small business owner. I can't afford to sell the milk. Fucking $150 million net worth. Okay, dude, sure.
100%. There's a place for, some of these protection in case something happens to you. Of course, there's a place for all of that. But leaning on that and on the government, your parents, what do you think about when a 25-year-old is still living with his parents or 30-year-old living with parents and parents are taking care of him financially? What do you call that person? So what do you call it?
A person living in an economy where they can't afford to move out. What the fuck are you talking about?
They're lazy, right?
This is what I mean. This guy has contempt for the poor. If you're poor or you're not rich and you're watching this dude thinks you're a fucking idiot.
So true. And, in places where they've tested universal basic income, it's shown that people become more productive. There's always going to be lazy people. Yeah, there's always going to be welfare queens and whatever. But that doesn't mean that that's what's inevitably going to happen. If it's been shown that in places where they tested universal basic income, the people who got extra money and weren't so stressed about, working so much because they had the UBI offsetting it, they recontributed that money, that extra money, back into the economy or back into other, side gigs or passions that produced more money or societal benefit or whatever. So, yeah, this idea that it's like,
we'll just grind harder.
Especially it's so rich coming from a guy who made his money from an MLM. It's like, it wasn't good enough for Patrick to just make his money and shut the fuck up and be sort of obscure and not known like most MLM CEOs. Do your lobbying behind the scenes, do your, influencing privately, in the convention for the MLM, be John Smith. No, it wasn't good enough for him to be John Smith. He has to create a Streisand effect of creators like me coming out years later and being like, hey, do you actually know who this guy is? Do you actually know how he made his money? Do you actually know what is underpinning his qualifications or his perception as like this legitimate, successful businessman? Do you actually know what he's about? He only ran the risk of being exposed in that way because he insists on like being a public figure and making stupid ass videos like this.
And he makes money off of selling you bullshit.
And by the way, Patams in the chat says the only pulling of bootstraps I've been seeing lately are bosses pulling up their friends and extended family with no qualification. System finds the people, buddy. Yeah, also, consider that the term pull yourself up by your bootstraps was coined to describe something impossible. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
A 30, 35-year-old that's relying.
To pull yourself up by your bootstraps is an idiom that means to succeed or improve your life entirely through your own efforts without any outside help or resources. Literally, the phrase is a physical impossibility. You cannot lift yourself off the ground by pulling on the straps of your own boots. Never mind that not only can you not pull yourself up by your bootstraps, we're in a point where most people don't even have most people are barefoot. Most people don't even have bootstraps to begin with.
On the government to raise the minimum wage for them. What's the difference?
I'm sorry, my dude. Aren't you a fucking 40-something-year-old relying on the government to not raise the minimum wage? You fucking moron. You snaky little piece of shit. You said the government was bullying you.
Just wait till this guy finds out that Patrick ran an MLM.
A person worth $150 million that you are being bullied because the people who we democratically elected in the previous election have implemented a legal process that they said they would do. You say that's bullying, and then you have the audacity to claim that other people are entitled because they voted for people who represent their best interests. Hey, my guys, this guy will also tell you that you're entitled if you need a union to stick up for you. This guy wants you to be a calm, complacent little human cuck slave. Don't look up, don't complain, don't speak up against your betters. Just work for him, make him as much money as you can, and then die impoverished, okay? That's what this guy wants. That's his material interest, which is why he shit talks every avenue by which you have the possibility of succeeding in this rigged fucking system.
Between the name you gave for either or. What is it? Well, no, that's different because, no, there is no difference. It just means you're not increasing your value in the marketplace. Now, remember, I'm not talking about disabilities. And I'm not talking about all that other stuff, although I'm also not talking about, oh, everybody has mental issues or health issues. I'm not discounting that. I get it. I know what it is to be going through challenging times, but can we use that on every single person? I understand a small percentage of America. I understand a small percentage of but that number keeps increasing. Every time somebody's going through a tough time saying, you don't know what I'm going through stress-wise. I'm sorry, we're all under stress. I got 3 babies, 1 on the way.
Dilly, Tico, Brooklyn, and Santa Rose, right?
Oh yeah, dude. $150 million. It must be very stressful finding the time and resources necessary to raise your children, while you say that people who are still living with their parents are entitled for wanting the government to raise the minimum wage. Dude, you could afford a fucking private mansion for your nannies, okay?
Can't make this shit up.
Jesus Christ.
Also can't make up how literally 50% of you, even though it's free to click thumbs up on the stream,
Thumbs up the king.
haven't done it. That's how you know we're in. That's a recession indicator. Goon recession indicator.
I know life is hard. I have kids on the way. Yeah, dude, raising kids is hard. But don't you fucking talk about how hard it is to raise kids after you bitch about the government bullying you.
If someone told me right now, Marco, we're going to give you $150 million, but you also are going to have 4 kids, I'd be like, thank you. Deal. Thank you.
By raising the minimum wage. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, so I can afford to have kids? Oh, thank you.
Family. Few businesses to run, people to support, board to report to, my own health to take care of, my personal life, trying to please my family,
the things that everybody has to contend with and juggle without making $150 million?
Wait, this is everybody. Everybody has these things, and the things that they don't normally have are things that are your privilege.
Few businesses to run.
Oh no, your businesses to run. With your tens of millions of dollars. Does this guy really run a fucking pyramid scheme? I'm trying to look him up on Wikipedia, but I can't because this guy search engine optimizes to fuck, and his website is the first thing that comes up. CEO, entrepreneur, author, content creator. Successful startup entrepreneur, CEO of PHP Industry. That's an interesting name. And creator of Valuetainment on YouTube. One day I will have a website saying I'm an entrepreneur for starting Vosh Incorporated. We'll see. Patrick is passionate about shaping the next generation of leaders by teaching thought-provoking perspectives on entrepreneurship and disrupting the traditional approach to a career. Wow, such a disruption of the traditional approach by telling people to not care about increasing the minimum wage so they can get on their grind.
People in the chat saying Vosh PHP is the MLM. Please let him discover more on this video.
What an incredibly thought-provoking approach. Anyone who watches this video should feel it abundantly clear that this guy is a fucking moron who has no fucking idea what he's talking about, who actively lies and misrepresents information to his audience. This guy apparently got crushed in a debate against Richard Wolff. I'd be delighted to one day speak with him myself. And, yeah. He has no fucking idea what he's talking about. This guy is a single man counterfactual to the argument that you have to be intelligent to make it in today's business world.
People to support, board to report to, my own health to take care of.
Oh, a board. People to support like other people don't have to. A board to report to. That must be so fucking hard, bro. A board to report to? Oh, God. how the disadvantages of poverty pale in comparison. Your health to take care of. Damn, dude, nobody else is doing that. That's just a you game.
My personal life, trying to please my family, trying to take care of them. Stress is there for all of us. Everybody has some sort of stress, some higher.
This, by the way, is the language of class collaborationism, okay? Remember that everything he struggles with, he can fix with money.
Bars.
Everything he struggles with. He doesn't want to deal with his family or kids. He can afford nannies.
He wants to eat healthy. He can afford a chef. He wants to take care of his health. He can hire a personal trainer and get a gym membership and take the time to do it. On and on and on.
He doesn't want to have to deal with any of the provisions for his life. He can afford all of them. He has to report to his board. Oh, boo fucking who. Okay, his health. He can afford the finest food in the world. Any fitness trainer he wants. He has private gym. He probably has multiple private gyms. One for attached to each of his bedrooms. So no matter which of the king-sized fucking papyrus sheets he sleeps on, he can immediately wake up and waddle over to his private gym. The goal of his language here is to make it seem as though he's a guy just standing next to you with his arm around your shoulder talking to you. He's not, okay?
Here's some lower. But to rely on an institution, your parents, the government, to support you and rely on you increasing your wage, I don't know. I would much rather rely on my industry, my effort, my desire to work to increase my value in the marketplace. When I go to sleep at night, I say, okay, I'm getting paid what I'm worth, and the market is going to pay me $55,000 an hour, $26 $55,000 a year, which is what, 26.
55,000. You know, he said that as an accident, and then a few years later, he was like, you know what? Minect, I actually am going to charge that much an hour.
$6 an hour. Market's going to pay me $50 an hour, which is
Fucker probably does make $55,000 an hour without income.
What, 6 figures. Market's going to pay me $100 an hour, which is what?
Damn, dude. This is unironically like horoscope logic. Oh, you've spent years in poverty and can't afford to move out because nobody in your area is hiring and student debt is piling up. Have you considered falling asleep at night imagining yourself making a 6-figure income? Damn, dude. That's crazy. Just every poor person in America can just like wake up going like, yeah, dude, I'm actually worth 6 figures. And then go to their local fucking Starbucks job and make 6 figures. That's crazy. This is the religion and worship of the invisible hand. Oh yeah, 100%. Yep, 100%. This is religious thinking.
$200,000 year income. Market's going to pay me $500 an hour, which is what? $1 million year income. More than 500,000 people filed their taxes last year that made over $1 million. The market pays if you and I increase the market value.
For fuck's sake, I couldn't unmute the microphone. The irony of this here is that Patrick's own PHP business model actually sees people diluting their market value as part of pursuing the compensation plan. Explanation. He's saying here that people need to increase their market value. In PHP, the way you make money, aside from selling insurance policies and annuities, is by recruiting other people who pay money to join the company, who pay fees, and then join your downline, your team, that you can earn overrides on their sales, but also you can earn bonuses for building this team. You recruit people, then they recruit people, then they recruit people. So this multiplicity of people all selling the same thing is literally market dilution in its purest example. Why would you recruit more people to sell the same thing as you in the same locale who have an overlapping social circle that you do, most likely? If you go to recruit your 5 closest friends, your 5 closest friends also most likely know each other. So if John recruits Bob, Bob is also thinking, oh, well, I can't go and recruit Steve and Tim and Eric and whoever else because John already got them. So, you know, and I've tried to explain this before. You guys remember my infamous debate with Feby Francois from WFG, Feby Francois, like he's a cartoon Powerpuff Girls villain. When I said to him, when I was trying to explain basic supply and demand to him, and I said, do you realize, like, do you agree that in the analogy of an ice cream truck, if you're the only ice cream truck in a neighborhood, that's good for you. If 5 more ice cream trucks pop up, that's not good because you're going to have more competition for yourself, and that's not good for you. You would rather own a monopoly. And his response was, it's ice cream. It will melt. That's the type of mind that is attracted by MLM. Plain Decoded says, Marco, I agree with you on most, MLM being a cult and a scam, but I don't think the mathematical principle that you talk about is that important. I think it's a misrepresentation of the situation. I do appreciate you pushing back on this because it gives me an opportunity to double down and prove what I'm saying even more. Plain Decoded, I disagree. The mathematical principle, the mathematically impossible endless chain math of the 5 who recruit 5, and within 13 cycles you've exceeded the entire population of the earth, is extremely important because it points to people's blind spot when it comes to comprehending the exponential function. And I've played this video on my streams before, so I'll spare you from doing it again. But if there is a jar of bacteria that starts out with one single bacteria in it, and it doubles every minute, at which point will it be half full? In an hour. The 30-minute mark is what most people say. The real answer is that it will be half full at 1 minute to midnight, at 1 minute to 12. 3 minutes before, it'll only be a little bit full. Up until like 3/4 of the way, you wouldn't even be able to visibly see any bacteria. You wouldn't be able to tell that there's a problem. The explosive exponential growth is the very basis of the scam, if you want to call it that, of MLM in itself. People are blind to this. People get told, oh, just recruit 5 people. You know 5 people. If you can only repeat it 13 times before you exceeded the entire Earth's population, how long before you exceeded just your own city? I live in a city, Edmonton, where there's approximately 1 million people. So let's say I recruited 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. How many did I do right there? 7? I'm already at 78,000 people. One more time. 390,000 people. Let's just stop there. Let's stop there. That's about half the city. Keep in mind, half the city that is only doing the MLM now. Half the city who each person now has a market, a potential pool of only one person that they can sell to. They're cannibalizing each other's potential sales. No doctors, no lawyers, no teachers, no bus drivers, no grocery store workers, no fast food workers. Everybody's doing, half of the people in the city are doing this. So, you know, it's just, this is, I think, the strongest case, the strongest argument for explaining why it's a scam to begin with. Never mind the products being overpriced. Never mind it being difficult to sell. Never mind that you have to pay to work there. Never mind that the compensation plan shows abysmal numbers. Never mind the motivational rah-rah that's designed to appeal to your emotions and not get you to think critically about it. Never mind the lack of informed consent and transparency. The math that they themselves propose is deceptive. Plain Decoded says, you got the 78,000 people in 1 second. You have to wait until you meet a person, so it doesn't take into the fact that it's a growth percentage like over time. But this is what I mean. It's explosive. It's exponential.
Our work is never.
For fuck's sakes. For fuck's sakes.
The greatest shortcoming of the human race is our inability to understand the exponential function. And the exponential function is the mathematical function that you...
Plain Decoded says, are people finite or there's new people all the time? Are they infinite? There is new people all the time, even though we have population issues and... but regardless, let's assume that the population will continue to grow. The population will not and cannot continue to grow at the same rate as the MLMs are proposing. And this is the point. You bring up a point that the MLMers often say as a result. They say, Marco, if you would run out of people, how come it hasn't happened yet? Amway has been around since however long, and they still haven't recruited anyone. So what are you talking about? This is a purposeful bad faith attempt to misunderstand the basic principle I'm talking about. And it also proves, by way of implicit admission, that their system doesn't work the way they claim it does. Precisely. Why haven't we recruited everyone yet? If it works the way you say it does, shouldn't everyone be in it? So exactly. Why hasn't it happened yet? That's actually my question. You're validating my criticism of it by pointing out that the entire world hasn't been recruited yet. Precisely. If you just have to recruit 5 people who recruit 5 people and it's easy and anyone can do it, and if I can do it, you can do it, and you just have to believe, shouldn't we all be in it? And what do they say to that? Oh, well, that's because the brokies and the people who don't believe in themselves, they quit. Right. They have an answer for everything. Unverifiable and unfalsifiable. How do I know that the reason people were churned out of this system is because they were just a brokey who didn't have what it took? It worked for me. The system works. Do you work? Well, that's an easy way of shrugging off the impossibility of what you're proposing by just victim blaming and saying people didn't work hard enough. It works for me. Yeah, it works for you because you're in the upper ranks. You're more successfully deceiving and scamming other people. How could it be a scam? I'm making money. That's exactly the purpose of a scam, is it not? It wouldn't be a scam at all if nobody made money. Imagine Bernie Madoff saying, it couldn't have been a Ponzi scheme. I was making a lot of money. Yeah, you were making money off of the Ponzi scheme. So again, they have an answer for everything. And I've been doing this 7 years now. It's been 11 years since my high school best friend was recruited into World Financial Group, and I started hearing this nonsensical babble for the first time. And even before I knew the names of the fallacies and the responses to be able to diffuse them and defeat them, I knew it was nonsense. It just didn't sound right to begin with. So, let my guy get his bars off right here. Why is it not showing? Something going on tonight.
The size of anything that was growing steadily. And for example, 5% per year, the 5% is a fixed fraction, the per year is a fixed length of time, and that's what...
Let's go to the bacteria example.
People. If you have bacteria and they grow by doubling, and one bacterium divides to become 2, the 2 divided to become 4, and the 4 become 8, 16, so on. Now that's steady growth, just ordinary growth. And if they double in number every minute, and if you had just one bacterium in a bottle, an empty bottle at 11 in the morning, and then if you observe that the bottle's full at 12 noon, then you've got a case of steady growth in a finite environment. And at what time was the bottle half full? So you'll get answers like 11:30. No, this is steady growth. It doubles in number every minute. It'll be half full at 1 minute before 12.
Watch.
And the second question, if you were an average bacterium in that bottle, at what time would you first realize that you were running out of space?
These bacterium can just as easily represent the participants of an MLM compensation plan.
At 12 noon, the bottle's full. 1 minute before it's half full. 2 minutes before it's a quarter full, then an eighth and a 16th. Let me ask you, at 5 minutes before 12, when the bottle's only 3% full, and is 97% open space, just yearning for development, how many of you would realize that there was a problem?
Exactly. Exactly. What's the meme? Two dumb bitches in a room saying exactly to each other, and they're both wrong. Let's see. Plain Decoded says, it's still a scam. I agree with you. That's the brilliance of the scam, the built-in slowness. That's true. It does seem plausible when you just say, oh, just get 5 people. Excuse me while I sip a bottle of $80 case perfect water that has actually been contaminated twice. Hilarious. Dave Vaughn says, when someone in your family is scammed, it's usually a shield against a similar tight-knit family for a couple years. The point of the math is to prove you're joining at a different time than claiming you can do it too. That's another great point. Is the person above you, you have to consider they are also ahead of you in it. You know, the market wasn't as saturated as the previous generation when they got you. Captain says PBD eats bananas for the shape and not the flavor. Hilarious.
Not if the government increases the minimum wage. So what is the right minimum wage number? If they can make 15, is it 25? Is it 35? Why don't make it 50? Why don't make $100 an hour for everybody?
You keep talking like this, we're gonna, motherfucker. We'll do it. Yeah, we'll do it. We'll make it 100. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We'll do it just to bankrupt you.
Where do we come up with that money? What happens to everything in the marketplace?
What do you mean, where do we come up with that money? You come up with it, dumb fuck. The state doesn't pay minimum wage. You do. What the fuck do you mean? Where do we come up with it? With the products or services that you sell.
Gas prices go to $4, $5, $10, $20, $30?
No.
Do you want that to happen?
That's
you
not
know what I'm saying. So all of a
What
sudden,
is the relationship between, what does the minimum wage have to do with gas prices? Gas prices are determined by the availability of fossil fuels. You think that gas prices are going to skyrocket because they're paying the one guy behind the bulletproof glass $15 an hour instead of fucking $7? What are we talking about right now?
you're depleting your savings. So again, focus on increasing your market value. And
okay, this is boring now. Yeah, okay. That guy's incredibly stupid. He doesn't deserve a single cent that he owns, and I sincerely hope that he gets caught on tax fraud sometime in the near future. Probably not smart enough to even know how to properly file. Well, he pays somebody else to file his taxes, so you know, it's not.
Type shit.
Who cares? He thinks most people have savings. People like that, not only do they not understand what it's like to be poor, they don't care. He doesn't think of his followers or the people who follow him as anything other than a massive resource from which to draw wealth and worship. And
this is more correct than Vosh even knows in this video, because in an MLM, you know, in most companies, you would look at people losing money in your company as a bad thing. But in MLM, it's actually a good thing. What I report as the failure rate of people in MLMs, the loss rate, is actually not a loss rate at all. Remember, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Everything in MLM is not only a lie, it's actually the opposite of what they brand it as. Every single thing. Example, the loss rates, people losing money. Actually, this is not a loss rate at all. It's actually the win rate, because the losses, air quotes, of the distributors in the company are themselves the profits and the revenue of the company. Those people are losing money because they're spending more on starter kits and fees and whatever else to the company than they are making. So from the company's point of view, pretend you're the MLM itself, not a distributor, you're the actual company. More people are giving in money to you than you are giving out. That's good. The system is working as it's supposed to. You're profiting. If the loss rates were lower or none, it would mean that you're paying out more than they're generating for you. Hence that would be the loss. So what do you call it when other people losing money is the source by which you make money? I would call that a scam. And they'll have a clever analogy for this too. They'll say, well, when I go to the grocery store and I buy groceries, I lost money, but I wouldn't look at it as a loss because I got valuable goods or services in exchange. Again, this is not the case in MLM. In MLM, the distributors who are mandated or de facto mandated to buy the products, the starter kits, the insurance policies, the essential oils, the protein powder, whatever, of the MLM are doing so because it's part of pursuing the compensation plan, because they're usually told, or it's heavily implied, in my opinion, allegedly, in my experience, that when you join and insert MLM, they tell you, buy a starter kit for $500 and go sell the powder, the lotions and potions. Well, when you buy it, the company's making a profit off of that. They didn't just sell it to you at cost out of the good of their heart to like help you. Now you have it. You're either going to sell it for a markup and make a little bit of profit secondhand, or you're going to eat it yourself, or it's going to sit in the garage and you're going to become garage qualified and, you know, that's the end of it. How would the company know whether you sold any of the product or not? Or not. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know. And that right there is a huge red flag. How can any company that doesn't know its own sales data survive? Yet companies like Amway have been around for decades and decades. Well, so then what's the point of data analytics? Any car company needs to know, above all else, how many cars did they sell? What's the most popular model? Should we discontinue this one? What color did people buy? Etc., etc. In an MLM, you would have no idea. You might have a guess based on what distributors continue to restock and hearing from word of mouth of the distributors, oh yeah, well, my customers, my downline really likes this strawberry flavor of the protein powder or whatever it is. But you wouldn't actually have the hard sales data to know. Are they going and collecting receipts from all of the different distributors? No, they would have no idea. And yet they continue to survive and thrive for decades, which means the actual money, the actual data metric that is important must be something else. Well, we know what it is. It's the purchases made by the distributors themselves. Even the term distributor is a lie because the distributors are actually the customers. They're not distributors at all. Technically, if you buy something from, let's say, I'm not even going to say a company, insert MLM. If you buy the starter kit from a company and you resell it, technically you distributed it. If I went to Walmart and I bought a bottle of Coke and then I went out to the parking lot and I littered it on the ground, technically I distributed it. But that doesn't make me a distributor in any meaningful sense. If I went and took the bottle of Coke from Walmart and I paid $1 for it and then I went and resold it for $2, technically I distributed it. But the only transaction that was really above board or that made any sense or that mattered was the first one where I went into Walmart and bought the bottle of Coke at retail. Walmart was the distributor. Walmart buys the Coca-Cola wholesale from the manufacturer, the Coca-Cola company. Now Walmart has it. Now Walmart sells it retail. And I, the customer, me, the customer, walking in, I buy it off the shelf and I pay retail. If I drink it, if I resell it, if I throw it in the garbage, it doesn't make a difference. I am the customer. That's exactly what's happening in MLMs. They're buying a starter kit, but they're not buying it wholesale the same way, Walmart is buying Coca-Cola wholesale. Of course not. Of course not. So, there was another point I was going to make with this too, that, let me see, was it Dave Vaughn's comment? Oh yeah, Monsoon the Goon. This is what reminded me of it. Someone remind Vosh that PBD doesn't pay anybody anything. This is also a genius thing. Not only are the losses of the distributors the profits of the company, but it's very clever to have people who work for your company labeled as independent distributors because you don't have to pay them a salary. You don't have to pay them a minimum wage. You don't have to give them benefits. If they lose money, too bad, so sad. They're an independent contractor. We gave them the infrastructure. We gave them the right to operate as a affiliate or distributor, subcontractor, whatever, of this company. But you don't owe them anything. Your business model is them paying you stuff every month, but you don't actually have any obligation to pay them back. The only obligation you have is to compensate them in accordance with the compensation plan. Well, as we've already discussed, the compensation plan is a mathematically impossible endless chain scheme. You know what? It's probably appropriate that I plug this right now because it's been a couple years since I put this video out, and mayhaps we should actually react to this video here on the stream. I think this is a good time. What was it even called? It's called The Truth About Pyramid Schemes. I'm such a genius. I explained it. Shout out to Beyond, by the way. I explained it so well in this video. Let me put it on 1.25 speed. And I explain in this video why an MLM, a legitimate MLM, is actually even more nefarious and deceptive than an illegal Ponzi scheme. Let me explain.
Many people still wrongly believe that a pyramid scheme is a scam with no product, and a legitimate multi-level marketing company does have a product. This is unfortunately false. There have been more than 30 companies shut down for being pyramid schemes, and all of them had products. A great example of this is Vima, which became popular in the mid-2010s. Every single one of these companies were also considered to be a legitimate multi-level marketing company up until the day they were proven not to be. So how do we know which ones are legit and which ones are pyramid schemes? To start, we're going to have to understand the difference between a Ponzi scheme, a pyramid scheme, and an MLM. Thanks to Bernie Madoff, most people know what a Ponzi scheme is. This is robbing Peter to pay Paul. The organizer tells investor A that they figured out a way to make great returns, whether it's stocks or Forex or whatever it is, and promises them a massive return. All they have to do is hand over their money and wait for their return. The scam here is that there's no real business. Money to pay investor A comes from investor B, who is told the same thing. Now to pay investor B, you get even more money from investor C, and so on. The problem with a Ponzi scheme is that eventually you will run out of people to recruit, and you can't continue to pay returns to your earlier investors. At that point, the organizer will likely either turn themselves in or flee to another country and get plastic surgery or something like that. Needless to say, Ponzi schemes are illegal. So what's a pyramid scheme? A pyramid scheme is a business model that recruits members with a promise of payments or services for enrolling others into the scheme rather than supplying investments or the sale of products. Sounds almost identical to a Ponzi scheme. The way pyramid schemes get around this is by tying a product to the cost of joining the company as a distributor, usually in the form of a starter kit that you have the responsibility of selling. So you're technically not just investing in the opportunity like a Ponzi scheme, you're making a purchase along with it. Thus, the company is making a sale. You could then earn commissions on the sales that you make to new recruits who pay to join the company. Now the company can say, we don't pay anyone to recruit. That would be a pyramid scheme. So you're not getting paid to recruit someone, but when you recruit someone, you get paid. Basically, a Ponzi scheme with extra steps. One big problem with these pyramid scheme products is that they're usually overpriced knockoffs of items you already know and trust, like shampoo, cleaning supplies, etc. And the commission amount is usually so low that you actually stand to make more money off of recruiting new people who buy starter kits rather than actually trying to make genuine sales of the product. Because of this, everyone who joins the company will be subtly motivated to simply keep recruiting rather than becoming genuine salespeople. Never mind the fact that direct sales makes up less than 1% of annual retail sales in North America each year, meaning it's practically an obsolete business model anyways. We have Target, Walmart, Amazon. How well do you think you would do trying to compete against those retailers by yourself or with a team with a brand that is less widely known and more expensive? Okay, so what is a legitimate multi-level marketing company? Most MLMs say you can make money two ways: by selling the MLM products yourself to retail customers who are not involved in the MLM, or two, by recruiting new distributors and earning commissions based on what they buy and their sales to retail customers. The FTC says that if the MLM is not a pyramid scheme, it will pay you based on your sales to retail customers without having to recruit new distributors. If the MLM is not a pyramid scheme seems like a weird way of phrasing things if in fact pyramid schemes and MLMs are different things. Shouldn't the distinction be pretty clear? Then they say most people who join legitimate MLMs make little or no money. Some of them lose money. In some cases, people believe they've joined a legitimate MLM, but it turns out to be an illegal pyramid scheme that steals everything they invest and leaves them deeply in debt. To me, this sounds pretty confusing. If MLMs can look like pyramid schemes and most legitimate MLM participants make little or no money anyways, where's the legitimate business opportunity? Maybe it will help to look at the list of pyramid scheme red flags the FTC provides in determining whether an MLM company is a pyramid scheme or not. 1. Promoters make extravagant promises about your earning potential. Stop. These promises are false. 2. Promoters emphasize recruiting new distributors for your sales network as the real way to make money. Walk away. In a legitimate MLM program, you should be able to make money just by selling the product. 3. Promoters play on your emotions or use high-pressure sales tactics, maybe saying you'll lose the opportunity if you don't act now and discouraging you from taking time to study the company. Leave by the nearest exit. 4. Distributors buy more products than they want to use or can resell just to stay active in the company or to qualify for bonuses or other rewards. If you see this happening, keep your money. I've been making videos for almost 4 years about multi-level marketing companies, and in every single one of my investigations, the 4 red flags of an illegal pyramid scheme have shown up multiple times each. So let me get this straight. In a Ponzi scheme, all I had to do was hand over my money and wait for my return. But in an MLM, I not only have to hand over my money, I also have the burden of trying to sell stuff and pay for monthly fees and product orders and recruit other people to do the same. And most people make no money anyways. And yet, Ponzi schemes are illegal, but MLMs are not.
Just look at this image. This image is one where you could genuinely make an argument for why Ponzi schemes are actually less harmful than MLMs. In the John Taylor study, the case for and against pyramid schemes, the case for and against MLMs, very important distinction there, he explains how you actually have a higher chance of success gambling in Vegas than making money in an MLM. He also explains how you have a better chance of success in an illegal product-based pyramid scheme than a legitimate MLM company.
The Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme that I talked about earlier took decades to accumulate and was estimated to be worth $64 billion when it was discovered. But the Direct Selling Association, which lobbies the government on behalf of MLM companies, reported earnings of $186.9 billion in revenue for 2021.
So now, here's one of the most infamous Ponzi schemes of all time. Multiple movies have been made out of this, the Bernie Madoff one. We're talking about, The Wizard of Lies, the HBO movie starring Robert De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer as Bernie and Ruth Madoff. Huge stars. And, this was a Ponzi scheme. Thank you, Simply Daryl. There was a Ponzi scheme, $50 billion, approximately, that took decades to accumulate. And this is 1 year of MLM.
It's earnings of 180 Association, which lobbies the government on behalf of MLM companies, reported earnings of 186 which lobbied it to be worth $64 billion when it was discovered. But the Direct Selling Association, which lobbies the government on behalf of MLM, I talked about earlier,
what year was this?
Took decades to accumulate and was estimated to be worth $64 billion when it was discovered. But the Direct Selling Association, which lobbies the government on behalf of MLM companies, reported earnings of $186.9 billion in revenue for 2021.
For 2021 alone. So there's an issue with the graphic here, so we have to blame Beyond for that, where the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, as I say there, was estimated to be $64 billion. So this graph should actually be a little bit higher. It should be like up here where my mouse is. But we're talking about that over the course of decades compared to MLM over the course of 1 year. And again, Dave Vaughn also says there are far more losses for a greater number of people in MLM. Ponzi's often target the rich folks. Exactly. And that's another great point to bring up, because even the people who lost money with Bernie Madoff, you're talking about celebrities like Kevin Bacon, Steven Spielberg, these are examples. They were still rich even after getting scammed. They still had more money after being scammed than you or me will ever have in our whole lives without being scammed.
It's easy to imagine that the total amount generated by multi-level marketing since it was first invented is well over $1 trillion. The truth is, multi-level marketing, sometimes called network marketing or social selling or referral marketing or direct sales, etc., is a made-up term used to disguise what they really are. MLMs are pyramid schemes. And
allegedly, in my opinion.
What are pyramid schemes? Ponzi schemes with extra steps. Thus, MLM is a Ponzi scheme disguised as a legitimate direct sales business. Decades of documentation and research unanimously show that 99% of MLM participants annually lose money. The endless chain recruiting model system is designed for only the people at the very top to make any profit. And in order to get to the top, you must deceive people in mass into believing that this is the way they will achieve financial freedom and success. This means leading people down a primrose path where they are convinced to join and stay in the company by being subjected to logical fallacies, new age spirituality, toxic positivity, social proof, peer pressure, and alternative facts. This can lead to a religious level of devotion to the company, which is really a commercial cult that can cost them their relationships with their friends and family. Real facts, like the 99% loss rate, are deflected away with false equivalencies or shunned as negative thinking. So Marco, are you saying that this industry that has been around for decades and has generated over $1 trillion is actually the biggest Ponzi scheme and commercial cult in human history, and the government is just allowing it? Yes, I am. I would hope by now in 2023, there have been enough examples of government corruption and bombshell fraud cases for this opinion to not be looked at as a conspiracy theory. The connections between MLM and the US government go to the very top. From the fact that Donald Trump was a paid spokesperson for the MLM company ACN for 10 years before he became the president, to him installing Betsy DeVos, wife of Amway CEO Richard DeVos Jr., as his Secretary of Education, to the fact that Kamala Harris, the current vice president, is married to Doug Emhoff, a lawyer who worked for the law firm Venable, which represented Herbalife during the period of time when Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of California. And many people speculate this was the reason why she chose not to investigate Herbalife. And this is only scratching the surface. And investigations are only launched when enough public attention and outrage is focused on a specific MLM company. Instead of addressing the problem at its core, the FTC pretends all MLMs are legitimate except the ones that are singled out for prosecution. The irony is that their reasonings for why one company is a pyramid scheme could be levied against any of them. It's all one big performance. The FTC and their selective prosecution is essential to making sure the scam continues. To make things worse, anytime an MLM is shut down for being a pyramid scheme, it's usually not deemed to be criminal fraud. So the only consequences that the organizers of the scheme receive are a fine that is more than affordable to them. The top recruiters of the company are then usually free to go and start their own MLMs or join existing ones. When one head is cut off, 2 more take its place. There are more than 1,000 MLM companies today in the USA alone, making the industry itself a pyramid scheme of pyramid schemes, each company representing another offshoot of the original MLM, Amway. Thankfully, the public awareness around what MLM really is has been growing exponentially over the past few years. To understand the full history of MLM and the political fix that's still being perpetuated to this day, I have to recommend this book, Ponzinomics by Robert Fitzpatrick. I have an interview with Robert Fitzpatrick that I'll link at the end of this video. And you can also find my Amazon affiliate links to the audiobook or physical copy of Ponzinomics in the description.
That video has like 100,000 views now, by the way, as well, which I'm very proud of. He also has one with CoffeeZilla he did in the same year, which I think has like 1 million views.
Thanks for watching, and please don't join an MLM.
What a fucking legend video.
Or salespeople.
Here's me in 2021. Look how skinny I was. It's crazy. Handsome kid, though, you know. 95K views. Okay, I'm not quite there yet, but, you know, we'll get there. What a legend, Robert. I love Robert.
Of the pyramid.
Go watch this. So here, let's finish this.
And that's it. These people, these work motivation types, have never in their life put any effort whatsoever.
By the way, Sasa, we moving to the Dasha. What's the song? What was that rapper's name? He was a real one-hit wonder. Sasa, I'm moving to the Dasha. Sasa. Thank you. $10 PayPal. Someone close to me got into WFG, so I binge watched pretty much every single one of your videos related to it, and I loved every second. Yes. The humor, the impressions, the sound bites. I like what you built here. I know times are tough, but you should be proud.
I just died on your arms tonight. It must have been something you said.
Thank you, my king. Love. Black power. Peace and love. Appreciate you.
And to actually understanding any of the complex sociopolitical context.
CJ, whoop-dee, bitch, we outside of some movie. Yes. I get it at dinner with blue cheese. Yes. Sasa, we hitting it.
Lead to the economy being the way that it is. He's the owner of an insurance multi-level marketing scheme. He runs a pyramid scheme. I'd have to look into that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Is this the temporarily embarrassed millionaire thing? Yeah, well, he's trying to convince his audience that that's what they are. That they're like that if they only increase their market value. Hey, you know how you increase your market value? I bet you it's by paying for a seminar from him.
LOL, so true.
Bet you anything.
Actually, it's from booking a call with me on Minact.
If we go to his website, let's see, we've got books you can buy for entrepreneurs, mentoring. Interesting.
Smoking the Zaza, it goes straight to the mata. Then I'm up in the chopper, I'm hitting the cha-cha. Open his lata, then he dancing bachata. Come on now. Streamlabs link Sasa.
All that just for me to make a pun about Sasa's username.
One-on-one mentoring, monthly 90-minute webinar, sales system, Vault Academy, and keynotes. Then we have VT episodes and then a VT store.
Bomba clap.
Yeah.
Look at Tom.
Damn, dude. This is the drip right here that you wear while visualizing your six-figure income. Yeah. The entrepreneur men's tee. This right here, this is how you make money, motherfucker. This is how you make it. You buy a t-shirt from a wealthy person for $30. I am an entrepreneur.
Pussy clat. Or you could go to alwaysmarcomerch.com, get that merch. You know, link in the chat. What up, Spec? Hi, Specs.
That's how you do it. You know the real problem with the average American working poor person today? They don't lick, they do not personally suck on Patrick Bet David's toes enough.
So true.
If they would suck on his toes while visualizing a six-figure income, they would be able to optimize and actualize their market worth.
Type shit. Type shit.
Fox, aren't you a wealthy person about to sell t-shirts? I'm sorry, do I sell t-shirts as part of a program to convince poor people that they'll be wealthy as long as they buy my seminars and shit?
I'm gonna start doing that.
Well, maybe. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm getting in on the game, baby, okay? You see this? Look at that, huh? We'll have it up in the store in just a couple of days, okay? You see this right here? Politics is dumping that. This right here, the drip. You wear the drip, opportunities will come to you, okay? Pussy will be flying at you the moment you walk out the door. Employers will run out onto the street. They'll trip over a fucking soda can running up to you, and they'll say, buy my business. Free. I'll give you my business. Because they know you got the skills to handle it, you know? That's true. Just buy my merch. True. 100% true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great video. Such a great video. You know who I envy? I mentioned the other night that I was at this business networking event. Specs, you'll enjoy this story. I was at this business networking event. My bookkeeper is a very savvy young businessman. So my bookkeeper and I, you know, we became friends. He invited me to this business networking event. We go. It's at a pub. I'm not a pub guy, but thankfully this was like on a weekday evening where basically the only people in the pub were there for this networking event. So it was chill. Mostly like I knew it was a legit thing because when I went in there, most of the people were like, they were not on some entrepreneur bro hustler type shit. They were like nerdy looking people who looked like they spent their time studying business and data and numbers and, you know, obsessing over their skill. So I knew I was in a good place. Afterwards, me and a group, there was 4 of us, one of whom was my bookkeeper and 2 was 2 other associates he knew from this event. And they invited me to go with them for wings after this networking event. I guess it's part of their weekly ritual where they eat chicken wings. So I was a bit hesitant because the place that they wanted me to go is a restaurant in the downstairs, and then in the upstairs, it's a music venue, which I'm very familiar with, and I haven't stepped foot in there in years because I'm just wary of Edmonton. I'm wary of downtown. I'm wary of going into places that I used to frequent when I was in the concert promotion game. But I figured I'm with a group. All of them are ex-military. Not Israel, just Canadian military. All of them have military background. And I felt like, okay, I'll be all right. So we go to this place. It happens to be It happens to be their open mic hip hop freestyle night in the basement of this place where we're eating these chicken wings. So the entire time we're listening to this loud ass, yeah, I'm on the beat and we hit it to the street and I'm getting ripping on the mic and I do it all night. The dredge of society. And it's sad because when I was 18, I would have thought this is the coolest shit. Yeah, we're rapping the bars and we pull up in the cars and we're going so far and checking the microphone and I can't enjoy anything now because I'm like, this is a psyop, you know, this is Israel, this is, you know, whatever. So, we're there watching these individuals do their freestyle rapping and just, they're having the time of their lives. You know, they're drinking their beer, they're dancing around, they all look like shit. They're all rapping about nothing. They're all bobbing their heads to unintelligible riff-raff nonsense. Like I was literally felt like an old racist boomer. And it wasn't a racial thing. Most of them were white anyways. But anyways, then over there in the corner, you've got some people playing darts. Also, like, you know the meme about the Cookie Monster pajama pants, about how like it, you know, or like the Batman logo tramp stamp. You know what I mean? These like stereotypically white trash type of things. There was another variant of that where it was like sort of the same aesthetic, where it's like a fat lady comes in with like a Venom hoodie on. This type of shit. The Cookie Monster pajama pants, Venom hoodie, Batman logo tramp stamp type shit. And I just said to the guys that I was with, because we're having a very, very high level conversations. These are all extremely intelligent, wealthy people that I'm sitting with, talking to, all ex-military, all extremely disciplined, from well-to-do families. And we're sitting there talking. And I said at one point, when there was a lull in the conversation, because it was so loud, and we're all just sort of like watching, as like it was a National Geographic thing, watching these people do their freestyle rap. And I said, you know, I envy these people so much. Look at me. I'm sitting here trying to do a good for society, exposing multi-level marketing scams that take advantage of poor people, vulnerable, uninformed, or perhaps even unintelligent people. And what do I get for my trouble? Harassment, lawsuits, endless stress, you know, endless lawfare. They're coming after me for everything I have and everything I will ever have in the future as well. And I just said, I just envy these people. I'm doing all this, using my powers for good. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. I'm using my God-given gifts of speaking and charisma and showmanship, if you want to call it that, to try to do good in the world and put out a good message and help people. And in return, I get destroyed. Lawfare, finance, the lawyer wants money, the other lawyer wants money, you know, they're trying to take the money, they're trying to stop me getting new money while my lawyer's asking me for the money I do have. You know, it's just endless. Years I've been dealing with this. Years. Every day it's a struggle. When I wake up, I open my eyes in the morning, I just go, fuck. Every day, shit. I just wake up, shit, another day, I'm still here. Another day to check my email and have my heart immediately sink because of you know, a new fire to put out. And I wish I was like these people enjoying this hip hop rap freestyle event, because they're just, you know, they're just in their own little bubble. I said to the guys I was sitting with, I said, I wish I could you know, go to work, clock in, clock out, go home, crack open a beer, sit and watch the game, and do it all again tomorrow. Not know anything about politics, not know anything about multi-level marketing, not know anything about Israel, not know anything about anything. Because at least I would be happy. You know, at least I would, for the short time I'm here, even if I was fat and stupid or whatever, at least I would be content. You know, ignorance is bliss, as they say. And so it was actually an illuminating experience, because I've always thought that. I've always thought like I think too much. You know, I know too much. I demand too much of myself, and the world, I guess. I don't know. I just, people have told me before too, you know, the world is not yours to save. And I just look around and I think like somebody's got to say something. Somebody's got to do something, you know? And yeah, it's to my own peril. I chose my path, I guess. I can't not. I can't help but try. I don't know what I would do otherwise. I'd probably kill myself, to be honest. Which never do that, obviously, but Anon guy lurking. I mean, do I even dare take into consideration the opinion of someone whose name is Anon guy lurking? Let's hear. Your moral superiority complex and personal values don't entitle you to a particular result. That's very true. I will say, in my defense, I don't view it as a moral superiority. You know, I'm sure they're all good people. They just clearly don't care as about these types of broader issues, you know, or at least that's my assumption. You can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences. Yep, that's true. Keep pushing. Thank you. Anon guy says, of course not. You're always right. This is true. Posting this stuff in a public domain. Yeah, you're fine. You're good. You can definitely respond. And I do agree with the statement in general. Like, yes, no one, me or anyone, no one's moral superiority or opinion of themselves entitles them to a particular result. And yeah, I guess maybe I have a naive belief in like karma. Like, I know I'm doing something good. The people who watch my videos know that I'm trying to do something good. But the forces of evil, I guess, aren't happy about that. And I don't know. I guess perhaps I'm green. Perhaps I'm naive, thinking that like by doing all this good, it will lead to a good result. But it hasn't led to a good result so far. And maybe there is a happy ending. But as of right now, being in the middle of the storm, it hasn't led to a good result. The current state of things, the current result is calamity, is financial destruction, is lawfare, is endless stress, you know? Sasa, thank you for the donation. I didn't see this one. Sasa says, I'm going to law school next year in Canada and will help with all your fees and cases. Appreciate that. I don't know if it'll be... by the time you're going to law school next year, so by the time you're even done law school and become, finish your articling and get appointed to the bar, we're talking about like a few years from now, by which point, hopefully I'm already done with the legal situations I'm dealing with. But if not, then it'll be too late. But I appreciate the sentiment nonetheless and the support. He says, let's take down the billionaire Ponzi schemes and eat the rich with the power of knowledge and friendship and charisma. You know, when you say it like that, it seems even less feasible than I initially thought. Appreciate you, Anthony Victor. Anon guy, I don't support MLM, just saying the marketers think the same way. It's their life's purpose to make as much profit as possible, and they will not stop because of a YouTuber. True. Every villain thinks they're doing a good thing, don't they? If they stop, they will get depressed, as you would, ignoring your purpose. Yeah, perhaps that's true. And I kind of, in a sick way, envy those people too. The people who have no conscience, who can just scam and lie and deceive, because they do live a better quality of life. You know, I think the idea of hell is kind of a cope, the same way as the idea of heaven is kind of a cope, because we'll see people who do the worst shit throughout their entire lives and then they die. And it's sort of like us comforting ourselves to be like, oh, well, they're burning in hell, you know? But is that really true? You know, that you could scam people for decades potentially, or, you know, be like a Jeffrey Epstein and, you know, get to take the coward's way out after living a life of, you know, allegedly horrible things. You know, unfortunately, they step on everyone else, and then our values, you know, turn the other cheek and forgive, and, you know, these religious values, they're just copes for ourselves. In reality, it would be more just to take revenge, wouldn't it? an eye for an eye. It would be the right way to go about things, wouldn't it? If we were truly trying to make things fair and balanced. But no, in the interest of like, I don't know. It's just a cope, I guess. It's just a cope. That somebody who scams for decades. You know, I think about Richard DeVos, the founder of Amway, the co-founder of Amway. You know, I believe he had a heart replacement. And thanks to his charitable donations in Michigan, there's a Richard DeVos. Let me see what it's called. It's called like Richard DeVos. You can read about this in Little Bosses Everywhere as well. Richard DeVos Heart and Lung. Richard DeVos Heart Lung Transplant Program. There's a hospital wing. I'm trying to find it. Richard DeVos Hospital. The Helen DeVos Children's Hospital and the Richard DeVos Heart and Lung Transplant Program. Richard DeVos, the co-founder of Amway, had a deep and lasting philanthropic impact on the hospital landscape in Grand Rapids, Michigan. He and his wife, Helen, funded multiple hospital facilities and programs. You know, this muddies the waters too, doesn't it? Because that's great that they used, you know, money, some of their money to fund these philanthropic endeavors. But where did the money come from? You know, does it balance out? Does, you know, perhaps part of the story is that, you know, life has a funny way of unfolding. Maybe 5 years from now, when I'm 35 years old, I'll meet my wife. And my wife tells me that she was born in Michigan and that when she was a kid, she had a life-saving heart surgery at the Helen DeVos Children's Hospital and the Richard DeVos Heart and Lung Transplant Program. And I'll go, this complicates things. You know? But he also had a heart transplant, I believe. And it's like, because of his ability, because of his financial position, he was able to literally buy life. He was able to prolong his life and get a heart transplant. He lived longer. He had a better quality of life. He could afford better food. He could afford better health care. And, you know, when he died, he probably had a very nice place that he was buried. He probably had a very nice, you know, financial, whatever insurance policy for his family. He probably had, you know, he had a very lucrative wellspring to continue funding his family's lifestyle and providing for them after he died. So it's like this idea that everybody's going to get what's coming to them. I don't believe that there's some divine power that's going to do that. I believe we have to do that. And that, I guess, is the conundrum I face. I do believe that, but look what it's gotten me. I could spare myself a bunch of trouble and not try to do the right thing and just tell myself, oh, they'll get what's coming to them. Someone will come along, so to speak. But I know it's not true. I know we have to be the people that actually do it. But then I know that if we do it, bad things are going to happen to us. I'm trying to figure it out. I appreciate the comments here. I miss Pooter and Scooter, right? Morality is subjective, especially to sociopaths. I don't even think it's the lifestyle after acquiring a certain amount. It's the predatory hunger that continues to drive them. If you gave some of them $10 billion, they would still continue. You're probably right. No chance she says that, and you don't think she's Mirage from The Incredibles, right? So true. Ski-bo, ski. Thank you, Specs. This is a Coke Zero, not a White Claw. Money has transcended law, order, religion, family, morality, and everything in the Roaring 20s period in America. It was God. It's a similar world we live in now. He's probably buried in forest lawns. Ponzinomics Easter egg. Yes, thank you, Benjamin. You know, and I've been talking about this recently, and I finally finished it. I've been talking about how Perhaps there's another way I can provide a benefit to the world that's in the same vein. Perhaps I can take what I've learned from being on YouTube for these last 7 years. Keep in mind, when I started on YouTube and my first World Financial Group video blew up, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram Reels weren't even a thing yet. There was still only long form videos, and that was it. So I've learned a ton of about not only growing on social media and making content, but also monetizing it and making a living off of it, which if you're not like me and don't get sued into oblivion, you will be able to make money applying the strategies that I've learned. And so what I want to do is I realize there's other important issues than just, MLMs and corporations. There's many things that people are passionate about that serve an important purpose. Maybe it's wildlife conservation. Maybe it's, nature. Maybe it's, literally any number of things you can apply it to. And so I've been working on this workshop, which I'm going to be doing for free. It's just going to be like a free Zoom. I'll screen record it so that I can post it and you guys can watch it for free. And then, businesses and content creators who are looking to grow more across platforms and make money from their content can hire me to help apply some of the things that I've learned over the last 7 years to their own mission and purpose. So that way I can help bring other people's beliefs and purposes and missions to life rather than just focusing only on my own. I think that seems like a natural progression for me. Not to say that I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing, but it seems like a natural progression for me. And so stay tuned for that. That's going to be next weekend. I think I can officially say that now. That's going to be next weekend that I'm hosting that. So if you're interested in it, message me on Instagram and I'll make sure I invite you to the live broadcast of it. And if you miss that, I will do the, I'll have a link to it that I'll funnel people to. But yeah, I've learned a lot. And, maybe now at this point in my life, it's time for me to put down the sword after 7 years and, become more of the wise old sage to help the next, 21-year-old, 23-year-old, young, virile, principled person who has a message they want to put out there. Maybe it's time for me to help them to make that a reality and not get sued while I, sort of transition into looking at what I want to do with my life for the first time in my life. Because I've been committed to this nonstop for the last 7 years, and now I'm 30, and maybe it's time for me to think about the next 7 years and who I want to be when I'm 37 or 40, or it flew by so quick. I started YouTube just before COVID. That was yesterday, it feels like. And let's be real, if I ever want to get married, if I ever want to have kids, if I ever want to have any sense of stability in my life, it can't continue like this. I can't continue getting sued and spending years of my life battling lawsuits, and it's just not possible. TKB says, isn't that just trading this temporary life for an eternal life we can't guarantee doesn't exist? Don't want to get into religious or spiritual topics, but where do those feelings come from? I don't know. Big claims require big proof, I guess. The burden of proof is on the person making the claim. If you tell me heaven and hell is a thing, the burden of proof is on you. Bet David is a Japanese artist, no value, sad, true. I heard a quote from Zoran today, says Specs. Oh, the libtards are out in full, which says, we may not always succeed, but never will we be accused of lacking the courage to try. Yeah. Thanks, Anon guy lurking. There's really nothing I can do about that, can I? What did you study in uni? I just went for a year. I did business, but it was basic electives. I did economics 101, marketing 301, Greek mythology, philosophy, sociology, anthropology. Yeah. Yeah. Also true, Anon guy. All right, well, appreciate you guys. That's all I have for you today. Nice little 2-hour stream. Not bad. It's 11 p.m. I started like an hour and a bit late, so let's call it there. It's 1 a.m. if you're on the East Coast. So hang in there, y'all. Oh shit, what happened? Oh, there it is. Hang in there. We'll be all right. You know, let's continue to have hope and persevere and hope that one impact at a time, one moment of impact at a time, and we will be in a place of we'll be in a better place. We'll get there. Honestly, it's you guys. I know this is like a typical, stereotypical, cheesy YouTuber thing to say, but I think for me, more than most creators, you guys are you guys are keeping this going, really. So thank you. All right, y'all. I gotta go listen to Iceman again and see if it's as good on the second listen as it was on the first listen. And I gotta go do my mental meditation exercises to brace myself to pay my lawyer more money. So yeah, appreciate you guys. Elon Musk. Money one.
I just died on your arms tonight.
I would love to get that new Lego Batman game too. Damn. There was actually some shit that was coming out that I'm excited about for the first time in forever. For the first time in forever. Any Frozen enthusiasts here? What was it? The Backrooms movie looks cool. Lego Batman game coming out. There was another thing. I don't remember. But I don't even own a PS5, and it would be wildly irresponsible of me to buy a PS5 given my current economic situation. But boy, does that Lego Batman game look fucking sick. One day. It'll be a little reward treat to myself, if and when, inshallah, all this shit is behind me. But I appreciate you guys being with me during these streams because it's a time to distract myself and pay the bills, get the goon taxes flowing, and talk with y'all, which is oftentimes the most social interaction I get is just doing the streams and talking to y'all. So I really appreciate it and appreciate the support always. And hang in there, y'all. We got this. We good. Obsession looks cool too. That movie looks cool. And there's another movie. The Michael Jackson one. I don't remember. Anywho, y'all, appreciate you guys. Love you. We'll see you again. And to the girl that was working at Earl's today as the shift leader, manager, whatever, no disrespect if you have a boyfriend or whatever. I hope, you can't be mad at me for having the same taste as him if he exists. But if he doesn't exist, holla at me. All right. Peace.